Chapter 8. In a Bind. Naruto sighed happily in his office chair. Well, the shadow clone of Naruto was sighing happily in his office chair. A new one at any rate, since the old one had been thrown out at his order due to the other, one belonging to Lex Luthor. The last thing Naruto wanted was to sit in a used chair where some angry prick with a fragile super ego once planted his ass every day to scheme up plans to kill Superman. So with that in mind, Naruto enjoyed the comfy chair and the now redecorated office that came with it. The whole corporate setting seemed so bland to him. So Naruto had it redone to give it a Japanese feel, complete with a Zen garden off to the side. He still had the desk with the computer on it, but that was to be expected. His intercom beeped. "Mr. Uzumaki, sir, a Mr. Wayne is here to see you," said Mercy politely, with her voice coming in loud and clear from the intercom speaker. And there was another thing too, Mercy Graves. Lex Luthor's former servant, bodyguard, lapdog, and all-around slave in all but name. But now she wasn't Lex's anymore, since the man was in jail after escaping from prison and being caught trying to leave the country while he was supposed to be awaiting his trial. Now the man was being kept in isolation away from the other inmates, since several had helped him escape, in return for a sizable fee from one of the hidden bank's accounts Lex claimed to still have overseas. While this was all happening, Mercy had gone to LexCorp to get answers on just how all the top-secret information in LexCorp surrounding the man's business dealings were brought to light. Imagine her own shock at seeing Naruto again in Lex's office like he owned it, and immediately she demanded answers from him. Who he was, what he did to her, and just about everything else under the sun. So Naruto told her the truth and answered her questions honestly, in order, and explained what his plans were for the future. Making the world a better place by doing what was necessary and doing good, while being necessarily evil. Plus, a nice group of hot women in a harem by his side didn't hurt either. It wasn't easy for Mercy to accept, especially given the fact one of those women in his harem was Harley Quinn herself. Those two had some bad blood that they needed to get out of their system, and Naruto was more than happy to help in that regard. Flashback Metropolis penthouse sparing room. A flying spear kick hitting Harley in the ribs via an angry Mercy sent the blonde woman flying backwards. Harley, being thick-skinned from years of her body being abused in all sorts of ways, quickly retaliated with a 1-2 punch to the face of her enemy. The two were angry when they first saw each other. Both of them were not pleased in being with the same man, and wanted to have their long-desired rematch. Only after one of them was left standing and the other was completely knocked out, Naruto forbid them killing each other, would the hatchet be buried. They had been at it for well over 30 minutes. Now Harley was on top of Mercy, smashing a fist into the woman's face left and right, but Mercy herself was no pushover. She had been numerous fights and trained to take a great deal of pain while still being focused on the objective. So with the correct timing, the woman grabbed Harley's fist, threw her off balance, and hit the blonde with a knee to the gut. Using this moment, Mercy got behind Harley and put her in a headlock before she squeezed tightly. Give up, or I'll snap neck like a wet twig," stated Mercy, while Harley struggled to breathe and fight back. "Never," gasped Harley before she elbowed Mercy several times in the ribs and threw the woman off of her. The two continued to go at it until both were too exhausted and very much unconscious on the ground, with Naruto sighing, knowing this wouldn't be the end of their rivalry. So he picked them up, put them in a separate bed, and healed their injuries before getting the two of them to sit down in the common room area to further discuss things in regards to them keeping things civil. Easier said than done. But the threat of shoving the two of them into a closet with a gas-based aphrodisiac being pumped into it, and making both women having hot, passionate lesbian sex in said closet surprisingly helped. That, and he threatened to have a hidden camera in the closet for recording said lesbian scene. End flashback. And now, after a great deal of demanded sex that followed from both women, Mercy now belonged to Naruto in terms of joining him in his plans for the world. After all, helping the planet become a far better place to live in was an improved change of pace for Mercy over the whole making top-secret weapons meant to kill Superman, or the obsessing over how to bring the alien hero down. "Thank you, Mercy. Please send him in," replied Naruto. While his disguise of dark hair, blue eyes was in place with no whisker marks, since he felt they would make him appear to be a meta-human. Bruce Wayne walked into the room in his usual business suit, clean-cut hair, and the ever-charming smile that lowered the guards of men while making women swoon. Well, most women swoon. Mercy seemed immune to his charm and smile, though that was no real surprise to Bruce Wayne. There were always a few sharp-minded women out there who knew better than to fall for his playboy billionaire charms. And they usually knew how to kick someone's ass if you pissed them off. "Mr. Uzumaki," said Bruce Wayne, while approaching Naruto and shook his hand. "Mr. Wayne, welcome. Do you like with what I have done with the place? I know you were here at one point regarding my predecessor's time when visiting Metropolis. I assure you the time spent here a second time will be much more welcome," said Naruto while gesturing toward Bruce to sit. "It is certainly different. You made sure of that. I see you went with a Japanese design for the office. Though I wasn't expecting a Zen garden," replied Bruce with Naruto smiling. "Well, I can't spend all my working hours and days in this room, sitting in a chair on a computer. My muscles would grow weak, turn to fat. And the Zen garden does help me clear my mind." "What about you? No Zen garden at Wayne Enterprises?" asked Naruto while Bruce chuckled. "No. I sadly don't have the time nor luxury of clearing my mind in such a way," answered Bruce while knowing it was sadly true since he spent what time in life being Batman and running his company. What rare free time there was when not doing either of those two things involved, going on dates with women to fool people into believe he was a playboy billionaire? Really, pity. So I am under the impression you wish to possibly form another business partnership with Lex Corp. With Wayne Enterprises, now that Lex is no longer in charge. Questioned Naruto since Bruce Wayne had called right out of the blue roughly a week after he became the official head of the company. Yes. Lex Luthor's business practice and policies overall made me wary to continue our partnership the first time around when he was making a special type of tracking robot for military use. I told him unless we both signed off on it, as per the terms of the contract we both signed, he couldn't use them the way he clearly intended. Which now I suspect was to track down Superman, no matter the place or location, in order to possibly terminate the superhero of Metropolis, explained Bruce while he frowned at the memory due to it involving the Joker. Yes, it's considered to be one of Superman's rare weaknesses. What are your plans for the kryptonite? If it's as dangerous as you claim with its radioactive properties, having such an item around could be quite lethal to anyone exposed to it. Luthor himself has kryptonite poisoning from long-term exposure, said Bruce Wayne, with Naruto nodding since that was all true. All the kryptonite that Luthor has acquired is going to be sealed away in a vault I am having designed specifically for that purpose. In fact, the vault is designed to only be opened by myself and of my own free will. And the whole vault inside is designed with a purge initiative to destroy the kryptonite should anyone try to access the vault or break into it unlawfully. It even has an automatic backup generator built inside of it to be self-sustaining for the days in the event someone cuts the power to my company, answered Naruto. Which was true since the vast majority of the stuff had been bought, stolen, or recovered by Luthor to be used for the very purpose of killing Superman, Supergirl, and anyone else with Kryptonian blood. So if kryptonite were to be used, it would not be from your vault, surmised Bruce, while admitting to himself it was an ingenious way of keeping such a reserve of the radioactive stuff out of wrong hands. Exactly. How so much of it landed on Earth is a mystery to me. But that doesn't matter anymore. What matters is the future of Lex Corp, or, as it will soon be called by the end of the week, Whirlpool Inc., said Naruto with Bruce raising his eyebrow in surprise. Whirlpool Inc.? Asked Bruce since he wasn't expecting that. In honor of my home, which was said to be surrounded by them in ancient times. I felt with a new start, the company needed a new name to signify it, said Naruto with Bruce nodding since he could understand that. Change the name, the image, and overall feel of the company would remove it from the shadows of its predecessor. An interesting concept. I hope it works. Lex Luthor cast a large shadow over Metropolis with Lex Corp. I couldn't help but notice a lot of things here in this hallway surround the samurai, said Bruce, while Naruto looked at the man looking at the various Japanese items purchased for this change of appearance. Yes, warriors of honor. They fought and died bravely for the lords they served. Such people deserve to be honored as such in return. It also reminds the people who work for me what it means to be honorable and do honorable things over the dishonorable ones, remarked Naruto, since it was true.
What about ninjas? They are part of Japanese history to combat samurai who were not as honorable as most and oppressed farmers in various regions, remarked Bruce while seeing no reaction surrounding his mentioning of the ninjas.
Ninjas work in the shadows from what I have been told. It seemed wrong to put such attire or their weapons on display. I did try to see if there was anyone willing to sell any authentic ninja gear, but no one I talked to was willing to sell when I was in Japan, said Naruto calmly, while Bruce went over his words for a moment. A standard answer to my question. It gives away nothing, but hides nothing at the same time, thought Bruce while not giving away anything about him, suspecting his host being anything but a simple businessman. Would you like a tour of the place? I don't know if the last one you had here with Lex was pleasant or not, but I want you to see all the changes made so far, offered Naruto, with Bruce nodding since he could use this as a means to poke around without even making the attempt.
The two exited his office and made their way to the elevator, where Naruto hit the button that would send them to the 20th floor where R was located. As they walked through the halls, Bruce noticed that this floor, or maybe it was other and he didn't see it yet, had fewer scientist employees over the last time he was here touring the building with Lex. Not only that, but the various things being worked on didn't surround weapons, and some of the technology they were working on seemed more medical related.
Not to pry, but I noticed the number of people on this floor seems small by comparison to what I saw the last time I was here, commented Bruce while they stood in front of the window where some scientists were working on something important. That's because I fired a large amount of the scientists here. After I took over, I decided to perform a purge, if you will, of those who would prefer to make deadly weapons over highly advanced medical technology or other high-tech items that could benefit the planet in the long run. I performed a solid review of each person here for R, and found many of them preferred making things that destroy everything in its path, instead of healing. So I fired those idiots for the same reason Luther hired them. People like that do not belong in my company, answered Naruto firmly, which was true since he felt this world had enough weapon makers, and wasn't about to become one of them. I bet a lot of people within your company didn't appreciate that decision, commented Bruce while smirking at Naruto. Oh, they were upset. But I told them that the image of this company would no longer be associated with making things that kill people. If they had a problem with my decision, I told them that I had no problem revealing such displeasure to the media, and gave those who protested the changes a chance to leave while they could. Naturally, a good chunk of them left for companies supporting military advancements, but some of the smarter ones, seeing what you do now, have decided to stay, replied Naruto with Bruce nodding. Won't there be an issue filling the massive hole you have made regarding this decision? Asked Bruce curiously, while Naruto nodding. At first, but that is what scouting at the universities and college for the best of the best throughout the country is for, Mr. Wayne. I intend to get the next generation of brilliant mind in my company with the skills and hunger to advance themselves in what I'm doing. It won't be long before the employment hole is filled, remarked Naruto with Bruce nodding again since it made sense. Don't bother looking for apples in the bucket when the fresh ones in the tree were much easier to grab. Deciding to explore everything further, Bruce followed Naruto around what the soon-to-be Whirlpool Inc. building to the different floors, seeing different divisions set up, and the technology being developed here. All in all, it was very impressive in Bruce Wayne's eyes, and had a feeling he should get in on the ground floor with this type of technology being developed. But as Batman and Dark Knight of Gotham City, I was not happy. Well, Mr. Uzumaki, from what I have seen from this tour of the company, you are indeed a much-needed breath of fresh air. I think we can do business together in the near future, said Bruce while Naruto nodded and the two shook hands. Let me know what everyone at Wayne Enterprise thinks of the idea before we make the announcement official. I think our companies working together could really change the world for the better, replied Naruto with Bruce nodding and leaving the building before he got in his limo driven by Alfred. What did you learn, Master Bruce? Asked Alfred when the door was shut. Official company stance and business aside, nothing. Not a damn thing. The transmitter I planted in his office under his desk might help reveal something, remarked Bruce now that he was in Batman mode. He just hoped his plans bore fruit. Naruto's office at the moment. Naruto smirked as he stood in front of the window that looked down on the entire city of Metropolis and held the transmitter Bruce Wayne, left there in secret, Naruto knew the man would come here soon enough under the pretense of doing potential business. You don't replace a notorious businessman like Lex Luthor so suddenly that it goes unnoticed by someone like that man. Or in this case as his persona of businessman Bruce Wayne of Wayne Enterprises. "I don't like it," remarked Mercy after walking up behind him. "Don't like what?" "That Bruce Wayne failed to flirt with you. Make you swoon under his charming smile?" asked Naruto with Mercy glaring at him. "No, you ass. The fact he remotely suspects you of something. Almost as if you were Lex Luthor too or something. The last thing you need is him spying on you while playing it off as a possible business deal," answered Mercy, with Naruto nodding before destroying the little transmitter shaped like a bat in his hand. "Of course he does. If there is one thing that anyone and everyone in the business world fears today, is the possibility of Luthor's successor actually being more ruthless than him. They will surely be disappointed," said Naruto calmly, knowing he had some skeptics in the media about him taking over the company. "And you still want to do business with him?" asked Mercy in disbelief. "Of course. Let him get close with his company doing business with mine. I have nothing to hide. Everything this company does will be legal, ethical, and benefit the people and the planet for the long term. Unlike Luthor, I keep my business and personal life separate from each other." He mixed the two together in the belief they could coexist, when they in fact were his downfall, said Naruto while Mercy didn't believe him. "If that were the case, what am I to you, business or personal?" asked Mercy curiously, while Naruto chuckled and approached her with a grin on his face, with the henge now gone from it. "Why, the answer to that question is pleasure, of course," answered Naruto before kissing her passionately and held on to the slightly surprised woman, who quickly found herself holding on to him and moaning into the kiss while his hands began to explore her body. It was a good thing there were no other appoints today, since Naruto didn't want the office sex to be ruined. Gotham City Gotham Police Department. Several days later, Batman was on the roof of the building, the searchlight with the bat signal on it shining brightly and projecting the symbol of Batman into the night sky. In front of Batman was Police Commissioner James Gordon, who looked like he had aged a few years and did not look happy right now, to say the least. In fact, the man looked downright terrified about something. "You seem worried about something, Commissioner. What's the problem?" asked Batman while the Commissioner surprised him by taking out a cigarette and started smoking. A first for Batman to see from the man, since Gordon never smoked. A drink here and there in his office, but nothing too bad that it impeded his work either or ability to leave the Gotham Police Department. "It's about the ninja assassin case. The one where the killer basically slaughtered all of the big-time inmates at Arkham," said Commissioner Gordon, who had a tone of defeat in his voice. "What about it? Did you get a lead?" asked Batman, since it did happen from time to time. "No. I need you to back off from this one case, permanently," answered Commissioner Gordon with Batman frowning. "Why? What happened?" asked Batman with Commissioner Gordon taking a long drag from his cigarette. "His subordinate in a weasel mask came to visit me here in the police station," answered Commissioner Gordon with Batman narrowing his eyes. "Itachi," whispered Batman with Commissioner Gordon, ignoring the name since he did not care about that right now. "Yes, and he didn't enter through the window like you would expect from a ninja to do? No. The man quite literally walked into the police and tore it along with everyone else in the building apart before walking right into my office like he was the commissioner," whispered Commissioner Gordon fearfully. Flashback hours ago. The Phantom of Uchiha Itachi let out a sigh before entering the building without any fear or hesitation. His orders were clear following his creation by Naruto. Make it quite clear to Batman that he should back off right now or there would be trouble. Violent trouble. After Bruce Wayne left following the tour of soon-to-be Whirlpool Inc., Naruto had, after having office sex with Mercy, decided to make Batman realize just how unwise it was to continue this game and try to call his bluff. Of course, he had no intention of killing poor defenseless Alfred Pennyworth, but Naruto also knew that by letting this go, he would only encourage the Dark Knight to pursue him. This was a proverbial monkey on his back, and while annoyingly small in terms of being a problem, it was still annoying, and had to be removed before it grew into a bigger, more annoying problem. And Naruto was becoming a very busy man as of late, so he couldn't allow such a thing to grow into a bigger, more annoying problem. which was why Naruto decided to go for a target considered to be valuable to Batman, his persona as Bruce Wayne, and several others around him. Namely, one police commissioner, James Gordon. Itachi had beaten up every police officer who stood in his way. From rookie to detective, every policeman or policewoman who stood in his way hit the ground hard. No rank in the building was spared. It didn't matter if you were a police sergeant, police lieutenant, or police captain. It didn't matter if you were part of a SWT in full body armor and fully armed to the teeth. You crossed the phantom of Uchiha Itachi, and you would fall hard. As all the police stood walking from one floor to the next, all the alarms the building had were cut earlier so no one could warn anyone inside or out of the building. It was only when Itachi entered the busy room filled with countless police officers and detectives did everything seem to stop. Everyone looked at him in shock while he stood there unmoving at seeing someone like himself standing there like it was normal. When one police officer tried to approach Itachi, the masked ninja quickly struck without warning, with an open palm strike to the man's chest that sent the policeman flying back well over 20 feet into a desk. And after taking an aggressive fighting stance, Itachi made a come-get-me hand motion to the rest in the room, with the invisible fighting bell being rung. All of the police in the room had charged Itachi in the hopes of overpowering him with sheer numbers. But the phantom of the infamous Uchiha prodigy who slaughtered his own clansmen in one night would not be stopped in his mission. Everyone standing in his way fell to the ground, whether by mere physical force from his taijutsu skills that were the phantom skills of Uchiha Itachi himself, or the powerful genjutsu he put some of them from a mere glance using his own Sharingan on them behind the mask. Some tried to draw their guns in the hopes of firing a bullet into the ninja's chest or head in order to put him down, but sadly, there was no clear line of fire. And when they did, a kunai projectile would jam their gun before they could pull the trigger. Which in hindsight was probably for the best, given if they did, the backlash from doing so would either severely injure or kill them depending on where the bullets flew during said backlash. When it was all over, only Itachi was left standing over the injured bodies of over 40 well-trained and armed police officers. After stepping on Detective Bullock's large body, he silently opened the door to get to his intended target, and instantly turned into a flock of crows when the gun held by said target fired itself at him at near point-blank range. It was a smart move on Gordon's part. Once the door was open enough, or about to be open, the commissioner would have a chance to fire dead-on at his target, but to ensure it was his target, and not a fellow police officer, he had to wait until someone not one of his own walked through the door. Sadly, though, the commissioner's plan would have only worked for a normal person, and if the attacker got sloppy, if not arrogant in the process. Great. Out of all the people I have to take down by myself, it has to be the one with skills like Batman, but more lethal, and has some kind of shape-shifting power, thought James Gordon, while eyeing the door and the fact the man he shot turned into a flock of crows. Police Commissioner James Gordon. We have much to talk about, said Itachi with his voice echoing into the room. How did he get in here? I didn't see him come in, and there is only one door for entering this room. So how? Thought Gordon before the crows materialized into Itachi in all his Ambu mask, Akatsuki cloak, and Akatsuki hat wearing glory. Before Commissioner Gordon could even raise his gun to aim it at Iti, the ninja of the two quickly cut the barrel of the gun in half with a tanto, and grabbed the man before he pinned him to the wall. Gordon tried to get out of his grip, but the sight of the tanto in Itachi's hand, now poised at his neck, made the police commissioner of Gotham City stop trying almost instantly. Keep moving and you die, said Itachi with Gordon, not moving in the slightest, but it was clear that his eyes held the fear one would expect in his situation. Why are you here? Asked Commissioner Gordon with Itachi looking him right in the eyes even if he couldn't see it. My master sent me. He wants to send a message to the Batman regarding a previous one, and the warning attached to it that was not taken seriously, said Itachi with Gordon, now sweating heavily at this point since he had an idea of what the message was and what the warning had been. Please don't kill me. I know you probably have heard people beg before, but I truly don't want to die. Please. Surely it doesn't have to be this way, pleaded Gordon while his eyes glanced over at a picture of his daughter, Barbara Gordon, smiling at him from his desk. Glancing over in the direction Commissioner was looking at, Itachi saw the picture and turned to look fully at the man. He remained silent in front of the commissioner, who feared his plea for mercy would be ignored, and meet his end here with a blade through his throat or chest. What was really happening was Itachi having a mental talk with his creator on getting permission to proceed and scaring the man into listening to him. I see. Well, that makes things easier. The plan was to scare him into getting Batman to back off into digging further with the threat of a painful death. But this works perfectly too. Use it! Commanded Naruto through his mental link with his phantom of Itachi, who mentally nodded. There is one way you can be spared tonight. Only one. Agree to do this, and you will be spared my blade through your vital organs until only death awaits, replied Itachi, while Gordon nodded. Name it, gasped Gordon while hoping it was at least somewhat reasonable. I am here on behalf of my master. Your Dark Knight has been pursuing him for what he did at Arkham Asylum not that long ago. I warned Batman to leave my master alone and to call off the hunt. The price of refusal was to kill someone very close to him and make it painful. Admittedly, you were not the target my master had in mind, but ultimately, you were a far better choice given your influence here as the city's police commissioner. And it would have shown we are not bluffing, explained Itachi with Gordon giving a small nod. I understand, said Gordon with Itachi, shaking his head slightly. No, you don't. Since you are so eager to be shown mercy here tonight, the terms of you getting it require your assistance in ordering Batman to stop his obsessive behavior in his attempt at coming after my master. You will get him to back off. You will tell him to stop and make him stop, Commissioner Gordon. If you do not, I have been authorized by my master to double the kill count meant here tonight. And the secondary target will be the one person closest to you, replied Itachi with Gordon's eyes going wide in shock and fear. No, not Barbara. You leave her out of this. She's innocent in all of this, protested Gordon, but was stopped from resisting when the pointy tip of the tanto in Itachi's hand touched the flesh of his neck. I'm sure she is innocent. Nevertheless, there must be a penalty-based incentive to ensure you comply with the demands being made here tonight. Get in touch with Batman after I disappear and convince him to leave my master alone, so we may work without reprisal. Do this and I will not come back here or hunt down your daughter. But should you fail in completing this task, you will have the sad, unwanted realization of knowing that you, Commissioner Gordon, outlived your daughter. My master rarely gives someone mercy these days. So many are unworthy of it. But you keep Gotham clean. Try to fight the good fight no matter the odds. And don't bow to corruption. Which is why you're being shown mercy right now in the fact I do not kill you in a violent display beyond measure, said Itachi before removing the tanto from Gordon's neck and dropping the man so he fell on his butt. Just don't hurt Barbara. I will talk to Batman. I will get him to back off. Even if it means I have to arrest him to do it, said Gordon while breathing quite heavily, but was quickly calming down knowing his little girl was safe. At least for now? Good. Remember, should you fail or do not carry out this command, both yourself and your daughter will die. And it will not be a clean death, or in order of oldest to youngest. No, she will die first. And we will make you watch, stated Itachi coldly, while pointing at Gordon to further emphasize the point. I will do what you ask. Just please, don't kill her. Even if I fail to get him to stop, she doesn't deserve to die. Just kill me should I fail and be done with it, pleaded Gordon with Itachi tilting his head for a second, before turning to the picture showing Barbara smiling at the camera that took it. Before, Itachi sliced it horizontally in half in a single strike. Fail, my master, and what I just did to this picture of your daughter will happen to your actual daughter and in front of you. No more mercy, no more pleading, no deals, just death. 2 violent deaths, said Itachi before he was gone by dispersing in a flock of crows that smashed through the window and leaving a crying police commissioner on the floor of his own office. End flashback. Now do you understand? This is why I need you to back off, Batman. This isn't just my life hanging in the balance, but my daughter's life as well, said Commissioner Gordon with Batman frowning. Surely she can be protected by the best your department has to offer. Taken out of state in the witness protection program, offered Batman since he had no intention of letting this go, and was hoping to convince James to let him pursue this. Something tells me the witness protection program won't work. Hell, it barely works against the mob after witnesses testify at their trials. This ninja took down every single officer I had in the building. And he didn't just enter through a window, the man entered through the goddamn front door. This ninja threw Bullock over his shoulder onto the ground like he weighed next to nothing. He tore through my precinct like it was a joke and had a sword pointed at my neck ready to end my life. And now I have gotten my only child locked up in this mess because I begged for my life, remarked Gordon before he took another drag from his cigarette. He is a ninja, Commissioner. They don't honor deals like you or I would. They have no honor. Unless it benefits them to honor agreements, we cannot trust what this Itachi says about not harming Barbara, said Batman, knowing he had to convince Gordon to let him do this. I'm sorry, Batman, but I can't take that risk. I can't risk my only child so you can take down these two ninja who want to be left alone. So you either give me your word that you will back off entirely from this case, or I will arrest you. Right here. Right now, said Gordon with his new revolver having been drawn at the end. Don't do this, Commissioner, said Batman before more policemen came out with guns drawn and pointed at him. I'm sorry, old friend. For what it is worth, I didn't want it to come to this between us. But if I have to choose between your crusade and my Barbara's life, I would choose Barbara every single time, said Gordon with Batman's eyes narrowing. And I understand that. But sooner or later you will realize Barbara can be protected by those capable of doing it, if given the chance. Until you do realize this, all I can say to you is, goodbye, Commissioner, replied Batman before he threw down smoke pellets that covered the area around him. Smoke so no one would see him leave. Find him! Hurry! Commanded Gordon with everyone rushing from the roof to get into their cars and drive off in multiple directions. I see he didn't take too kindly to the command of backing down. Knowing what was at stake for you and your daughter, said Itachi from behind Gordon after appearing from the shadows. No, he didn't. And it's not like I didn't try to convince him either. I told him what you did, what you said, and what you threatened to do if he didn't stop. Surely you or your master can't hold it against me or my daughter for this, said Gordon while feeling like the icy grip of death was slowly reaching out to him. No, I suppose not. You did what was asked of you, Commissioner Gordon, and you did it to the best of your ability soon after being given the order. Batman was clearly going to say no to your plea regardless of what threats were used on you, your daughter, or on him personally. My master sees that now. He won't hold it against you or your daughter. As such, the order of your life, and your daughter's life ending by my hands, or his own if he wished it has been rescinded, said Itachi while Gordon was happy and fell to his knees in relief. Thank God, whispered Gordon before he felt Itachi's iron grip on his shoulder. However, such a thing is not without a heavy price. If you wish for such an order to stay rescinded, you will allow myself or my master to move throughout Gotham City without being pursued by your department. Meaning you will let us go about our lives in this city doing what we wish, when we wish, and if necessary, we kill those we wish. Namely, the criminal element within this city. Do you understand? Said Itachi with Gordon nodding his head. I do, whispered Gordon, while accepting the terms if it meant saving his daughter's life. As far as he was concerned, they were more than fair. Besides, the only people these ninja had killed, or the master had killed, were corrupt guards, criminals, and psychos of the highest level. So long as innocent lives, namely his own daughter, weren't butchered by these two, why should he care? My master is most pleased that you would agree to his most generous terms. It has been a pleasure doing business with you, Commissioner Gordon, said Itachi before he turned around and left without a sound. Titan's Tower sometime later. Beast Boy was in heaven. Why shouldn't he be in heaven? Tara was alive. Tara was his girlfriend. Sure, she didn't have powers anymore, but he didn't care about powers. He had liked her for her. And since he was no longer in a relationship with Raven, which he had broken off soon after, it made pursuing the blonde woman easily enough. It was for the best anyway, since Raven, for all her self-control, had a great deal of emotional baggage thanks to her issues regarding her father Trigon. And while Beast Boy had tried to handle it like anyone would in his place, the green changeling just felt it was better to be with someone else. Someone else who was Well, normal in a sense without the risk of them causing mild explosions every so often from out-of-control emotions. Sure, Beast Boy knew he could have done things a bit better when he ended things with Raven, given how she was in an emotional funk after they broke up. But he wanted to end it with her so his relationship with Tara could start. He had his own happiness to think about and his romantic relationship. What there was of it being romantic being very little, with Raven just wasn't growing. Right now, Beast Boy was in Tara's old room, which the blonde girl now lived in, much to the ire of some of the other Titans since she didn't have powers anymore. With Tara kissing each other and making out passionately. It was getting pretty hot and heavy for the two, but suddenly Tara stopped after Beast Boy got his shirt off. What is it? What's wrong? Asked Beast Boy since he was really getting into it. Nothing is wrong. I just want to try something new. Something kinky, stated Tara lustfully while Beast Boy grinned at her since he knew she was the adventurous type like him. No problem, babe. What did you have in mind? Asked Beast Boy while a great deal of the blood meant for his brain having traveled far south to even think about what she was saying to him. All he could think about was how awesome it would be to get laid tonight, which was a nice change of pace since Tara had been denying him for quite some time now for what she called personal reasons. He would have inquired further, but kiss on the lips and one of her hands on his junk for a second or two always distracted him from asking again each time. Just stand up, close your eyes, and just let me do all the work in setting the mood, said Tara with a mischievous gleam in her eyes that Beast Boy didn't see. With both now standing up, Tara made her move to setting the mood as she put it with a blindfold, some special rope coated in a formula designed to negate Beast Boy's animal transformation, and a big red ball gag just for him. Before her lover could question what she was doing, Tara had already tied him up first with his arms and hands behind his back. She put the blindfold on and the ball gag in his mouth. He tried to transform, but the special rope was already doing its job since it was designed to work upon making skin contact. Tact. WDKHFDSKSFKSFKSKS, mumbled Beast Boy while struggling to move and change into an animal, but found he couldn't. Hush now, let me do my work. After all, you agreed to do something kinky with me, so let Mistress Tara do what she wants to your body. Your weak, skinny, pathetic body that needs to be properly punished, replied Tara from behind Beast Boy into his ear before she reached into his purple shorts and gave his briefs a tug upward. Sajed, exclaimed Beast Boy through the ball gag at being given a brutal wedgie by his girlfriend. What's that, slave? You want me to pull them up harder? Asked Tara before she did just that and loved the scream she got from him. SGDSK. TFKH, DSKS, cried out Beast Boy with tears running down his eyes behind the blindfold. What's that? You want me to rip your tighty-whities off? Well, if my little slave wants to know pleasure through pain, don't ever say Mistress Tara isn't a loving mistress, said Tara before grabbing an even bigger hold on Beast Boy's underwear, and yanked it even harder with all her might. Reteat. Beast Boy screamed in shock and pain at the feeling of his underwear being removed like that, while Tara held him close while rubbing his chest almost lovingly. Almost. It's okay, my slave. Mistress Tara will make it up to you, whispered Tara while Beast Boy continued crying behind his blindfold with tears coming down. Ats DK. Scubby KSF. WKS KDKS, mumbled Beast Boy while Tara rubbed his skinny green chest, before twisting both nipples hard and putting a clamp on them, which caused him to let out another scream. I'm sorry, slave. Did that hurt? Let Mistress Tara take some pressure off of you, said Tara before she reached down to his purple shorts he always wore and yanked them down hard to pull at his ankles. Tough! WDKHDKHSFKK, exclaimed Beast Boy while Tara chuckled at his reaction to what she just did. Oh, don't be like that, Beast Boy. You know your poor tiny penis needed to be aired out after the wedgie. After all, such a weak little thing like that can't survive such brutality by a woman like me. Or any woman for that matter. It is no wonder you are still considered a boy by the rest of the Titans. Of course, I'm sure any other boy would have a dick much bigger than yours at this point, mocked Tara while enjoying the feeling of emasculating the green changeling. To further add to the humiliation, Tara had also set up a hidden camera in the room on a tripod kickstand. Since the room was already dark, Beast Boy never saw it when they first entered to start their little makeout session. All she had to do was finish what she had planned to do next, and soon have pictures to show just how pathetic this so-called Titan really was. While Beast Boy struggled to get free, much less scream for help by anyone who could hear him, Tara was busy getting out some marker pens with jet black ink in them. Taking off the cap, Tara grinned evilly at Beast Boy, even if the changeling was unable to see it. Quickly drawing all over him, Tara stopped every so often to inspect her artistic work, adding new things here or there, and giggling like mad woman at what she put on his skinny green body. First, she drew a dick on both sides of his face, pointed right at his mouth, and the words "I do this for money" on his forehead. Second, she wrote "Look at my tiny penis" along his lower torso with arrows pointing down from all directions to his dick. Other things she wrote were "Beast bitch, sissy boy, and I can't change into a pussy because I already am one every day of the week," all over the front of his body. And that was just on the front of him. Moving behind Beast Boy to work on his back, Tara wrote, "I love anal. I bend over for all things anal. Toys included. I love getting wedgies, and I wear tighty whities because of my small, shameful penis." She even doodled the image of a paddle along with the words, "Please use on my ass for fun," all over it. All in all, Tara was very happy with her work. The only thing left was to capture it all in picture format. Say cheese my bitch for a slave. You are about to become immortalized as the first and last sissy Titan thanks to Mistress Tara, said Tara before she took picture after picture of Beast Boy's front, his back, and again after forcing him into various lewd positions. And to think she was just getting started. Sometime later. Well, it's been fun, my green sissy slave, but all good things must end, including our own relationship. Don't feel bad, though, about me and my own needs. While you were unable to even remotely satisfy them, I did find a guy who did. He is a hero in Titans East named Speedy. You know, the archer of the group. I met him a few weeks ago out of the blue and we just clicked. Oh, and the sex we had was incredible, stated Tara happily while putting all of her stuff in a big suitcase. Jazzed FKA Dwarask F, exclaimed Beast Boy from his current position in the room. Yeah, all those times I just blew you off and wanting to doing something together was so I could and would go blow him instead, and of course ride his manliness between his legs. I mean, what woman wouldn't in my shoes? His penis is so much bigger than yours, and the overall stamina behind it. I no longer have to use my toys to get off after you leave my room. Fortunately, I found the solution to my problem on what to do with them now that I don't need such things, said Tara happily while she looked at the still immobilized Beast Boy. Say, dish AFAHDA, exclaimed Beast Boy while in pain from his current position. Don't worry, I'm sure someone will discover where you are and let you down. After they laugh at your current situation before kicking you out of the Titans. After all, a sissy like you would be a disgrace to the group, so the only natural thing to do will be to kick your wimpy ass out. So enjoy your time hanging around in this room for the next couple of hours until morning. Beast bitch! Oh, and one more thing, Raven sends her coldest regards for what you did to her broken, fragile heart. You fucking liar! Not that it matters since she has a new man in her life who can give her all the emotional support and orgasms she wants, said Tara happily before she left with her stuff all packed and was out the door. In the center of the room was Beast Boy hanging by a hook, attached to the ceiling via the elasticity of specially made women's panties Tara put on him, and were now wedged right up his ass. It also did not help that several of Tara's favorite toys, 2 small ones, and 1 big, were already rammed up there. To further add to the humiliation, there was a large banner set up right above Beast Boy's head, and had the words "Property of Mistress Tara" in big letters with multiple arrows pointing in the direction of Beast Boy's emasculated body. By the time anyone among the Titans found the green changeling, they would either be too uncaring to get him down for what he did to Raven, or they would be laughing themselves stupid at the sight of Beast Boy in such a humiliating situation. Probably both. When Tara got to the roof of the tower, she was met by a man in a ninja outfit with pale skin and fake smile with no emotion behind it. The ninja was soon given multiple copies of the pictures that Tara took and looked at each one intently. "Not bad. You have some serious talent with a camera, just like I do with drawing. You should really give photography a chance," said the ninja while smiling his fake smile at her. "You really think so?" asked Tara, since she was surprised to be approached by such a strange person all those weeks ago. She had been at the mall doing her own thing there when Sai had secretly approached her during a trip there. At first, Tara thought he worked for some super villain or something. But Sai had explained he was there for an entirely different reason, and it was in regards to Beast Boy. To her credit, Tara didn't know. Beast Boy had ended his relationship with Raven in such a cold, heartless manner and put the gothic woman into an emotional funk. The green changeling had told Tara that the breakup he had with Raven was mutual, and she was just feeling the regret of ending it, knowing they wouldn't get back together anytime soon. It was only after Sai explained what really happened did Tara get angry and wanted to get revenge on Raven's behalf. So Sai proposed that she get revenge in the best possible manner, from he had apparently read in various books on getting revenge on your ex, and emasculate Beast Boy in an extremely humiliating manner where his reputation would be beyond repair. Tara was shocked by the plan and was hesitant at first, given what Sai had proposed was indeed an extreme way to emasculate and humiliate Beast Boy beyond the point of staying with the Titans. That was, of course, until Sai had revealed something so personal about Raven that only Sai, Naruto, Nightwing, and Raven herself knew that no one else did. Raven had tried to kill herself following the breakup with Beast Boy. It had damaged her heart and mind that much. She had planned to end her life quickly with a magical dagger that would prevent the demon side of her, or even the magic powers Raven wielded, from quickly healing the injuries she wanted to inflict on herself. Nightwing knew about the incident because he was the one who stopped it when the bond the two still shared was almost destroyed moments before Raven was about to do the deed. He had bust into her room, tackled Raven to the ground, disarmed her of the dagger, and held the woman close when she tried to struggle to get free with tears running down her face, all while begging him to let her go so she could end it once and for all. Neither Cyborg nor the others knew about it because he, Beast Boy, and Tara were on a food run for movie night at the time. Nightwing had convinced Raven not to think about doing it again, or trying to do it ever again. At that point, the Dark Warrior and leader of the Titans swore to never reveal it to anyone as long as he lived. Naruto only found out about the incident because it was in the file Cadmus had on Raven, from the agent assigned by them to watch all potential threats recruits who caught their eye. The incident in the report was blacked out by the agent when his continued watch over the Gothic woman had later revealed she was no longer suicidal anymore, so there was no need to report it officially to his superiors in person to them. The agent himself had been killed by Naruto to ensure no one else knew what he did, and only told Sai so he could tell Tara if the woman needed further incentive to destroy the image of Beast Boy being a superhero. To add further insult to the injury that would be Beast Boy's pride, Sai had suggested she see Titan East's very own Speedy, who would soon be leaving Titan East himself for a solo career by going under the name of Arsenal. Tara, seeing no reason to reject the advice, had taken it, and the two had really hit things off. Oh yes, you captured the green dickless one in this picture nicely. I'm sure the various news media outlets and the everyone else who sees these pictures will certainly agree with the way you have angled the camera just right. Especially this one where you used a paddle on his ass until it was blood red while hanging from the elastic panties you used to give him a hanging wedgie. Most impressive, said Sai with his fake smile, never leaving him while Tara had the decency to let a sweat drop run down her head at his words. Weird, thought Tara while she saw Sai put the picture away, and he handed her a large brown envelope practically ready to explode with money. Lots and lots of money, all which was considered an added bonus to Tara for what she did to Beast Boy. My Inkbird will take you to the spot where you can meet up with Speedy. From there, I trust you can make it to Steel City and Titan East's tower, said Sai while Tara nodded, and got on the giant inkbird. Thanks again for the ride. I know Raven and I didn't get along very well at first. Even more so with what happened regarding Beast Boy. I hope this proves I am her friend, said Tara with Sai, smiling and nodding, before the inkbird took to the air. I'm sure she will know soon enough, said Sai before he drew an inkbird for himself and left in an opposite direction. Raven's room at the moment. Raven was sleeping contently in her bed. Spooning her was Nightwing, both happy and content being near each other while sleeping. So it was no surprise that a single mouse made up of black ink managed to sneak into her room with an envelope in hand addressed to the Gothic sorceress silently dropped on her nightstand before it quietly snuck off to go splat all over Beast Boy's hair. Whirlpool ink a short time later. I see. So it's done. Good job, Sai. Make sure those pictures get in the hands of the major news media outlets in Jump City, Steel City, Metropolis, and of course Gotham. I want this to become so big a news story that the Titans will no choice but to kick him out with the Justice League backing their decision, said Naruto to Sai over the burned cell phone, so no one could trace his calls should they try. Of course, Naruto-sama. I live to serve since you made me, said the voice of Sai on the other side. Good. Ganin. Once done, I need you to head to Arkham Asylum once all the pictures are done being distributed. I need you to drop off a message to Harvey Dent or Two-Face as he is known by others, said Naruto while his free hand went underneath the desk and grabbed the head of the woman underneath currently sucking him off, which was Mercy Graves with her clothes properly folded off to the side, wearing black bra and panties that were 2 sizes too small, and the back of her panties hiking up the back of her ass. Why was she wearing something 2 sizes too small? She lost a simple bet, much to her shame, against Harley on who between them could outlast the other in having sex with Naruto. The loser had to wear bra and panties that were clearly too small to wear to the point of them being very uncomfortable, and said loser walking around the whole day in the process. Mercy still thought Harley cheated somehow during their bet, though how they even got talking into having one such as the one they did was beyond her. Mercy blamed Naruto for it and his super pervert ways. And what is the message, Naruto-sama? Asked Sai, knowing he would carry the order out to the letter. Inform Harvey Dent that I can cure him of his dual personality disorder that makes him into Two-Face. Don't give him my name yet. Just signify that I am his friend in this case. Also, see if you can find the former actor and movie star turned criminal they call Clayface. Tell him to come to Metropolis and see me here at my company, Whirlpool Inc., to possibly get some form of treatment to combat his condition. He's not in Arkham and is hiding out somewhere in Gotham City, said Naruto while closing his eyes and loving his sensation of Mercy using her mouth on his cock. Why Lex never focused on Mercy, given her devotion to him from the start, Naruto will never know. Such a hot piece of ass left untapped the entire time she was in the bald man's service. Disgraceful. Yes, Naruto-sama. I will investigate where he is immediately and relay the message to him, said Sai in a professional tone. Good. Inform me when the mission is completed. You have 2 weeks. Report back at the end of the time limit or if you complete the mission ahead of schedule, said Naruto quickly at the end before he hung up the cell phone and came hard down Mercy's throat with the woman intent on getting everything he released into her mouth. Having a hot office assistant bodyguard like Mercy was totally worth being stuck here in this building for the night. Even if he was just a long-lasting shadow clone designed to be here while the boss was elsewhere. The memories the boss would get from this would definitely help in providing more Isha Paradise books. Isha Paradise. The Tales of the Hot and Naughty Bodyguard. Anyone. Author note. Yay! Author. Chapter 9. New editions. Bruce Wayne sat in his Batcave being attended to by Alfred for the injuries he sustained from fleeing the police and them shooting at him. It had been a long time since that had happened. Sure, the official story was to arrest Batman, but unofficially on the secret orders of Commissioner Gordon, they were told to let him slip away, and normally the police follow such an order. Only for things to change in one night. All because Batman wouldn't back down against an enemy, who knew his real identity, who threatened to kill those he knew. And clearly, had no issues in carrying out the threat from what Gordon had told him. The fact Itachi came to police HQ, walked right through the front door without fear, fought every police officer in his path, and held Gordon at sword point was further proof of these ninjas being threats. The fact Itachi went so far as to make it extremely clear to both Gordon himself and his daughter Barbara Gordon would be meeting violent deaths if Batman didn't back off spoke volumes. And this all happened after visiting Uzumaki Menma. My listening device was destroyed soon after being planted. Could Menma be the master that Itachi serves? Or just another subordinate ninja who answers to the same Master Itachi does? Thought Bruce while he winced from the one bullet wound on his arm. Alfred was wrapping up. It is a good thing. Whirlpool Inc. is branching out into the advanced medical field, sir. All things considered, with the many ways you hurt yourself, it will be a godsend to getting your injuries tended to better, said Alfred, while Bruce Wayne grimaced at the butler's way of scolding him. It is not so simple, Alfred. I think Menma is possibly the master that Itachi serves, said Bruce grimly. Oh dear. That does pose a problem. Does this mean I should take him off the Christmas card list this year, sir? Asked Alfred, with Bruce glancing at his oldest friend with a mild glare. Considering what he forced Gordon to turn the police on me tonight. Probably. This move was after I visited Uzumaki Menma at his company as Bruce Wayne. This only confirms my suspicions that he has some connection to this master, or is the master employing Itachi? Replied Bruce while Alfred sighing. At this rate, Master Bruce, you will surround yourself with more enemies than friends, commented Alfred, knowing Bruce Wayne was loved, while Batman was hated and feared by all. At least it can't get any worse, Alfred, said Bruce while Alfred grimaced. One should never say those words, sir. They tend to come back to haunt you, thought Alfred while working on some of the other injuries on the man's body. Wayne Manor the next day. Bruce Wayne was wrong about it not getting any worse. It could get worse, which was why his scowl grew when watching TV and what was showing on the news. First, the news reported that Batman, for reasons the police department would not reveal, was now a wanted fugitive and would be hunted down to the fullest extent of the law. He could see that, given the chase the police had chased him all over Gotham before giving them the slip. Second, apparently the various and major news media outlets got a hold of some damaging, if not disturbing photos of a Titan hero named Beast Boy. The Green Changeling had been shown to be in a rather compromising position, or rather positions of a sexual nature. Naturally, the public was outraged one of the heroes they trusted to protect them from harm, and one their children were supposed to look up to, had been revealed to be some kind of perverted sexual deviant. Bruce knew he would have to call a meeting with the other founding members of the League about this. None of them were going to like such a meeting, namely because it slightly delayed several of its members from departing for Superman's wedding. Flash still couldn't believe the Man of Steel's lucky break, as he put it. In the next couple of days. Not to mention Batman had to call Nightwing in along with the other Titans in the same group as Beast Boy to address this particularly unusual issue. Without question, he knew the Green Changeling's humiliating situation, and that was putting it lightly, would get him kicked out of the Titans. But it was what came after that piece of news, which made the Dark Knights want to brood even further at how things had spun out of control for him. In our latest story coming right out of Metropolis, the new head of what will soon be called Whirlpool Inc., Uzumaki Menma, has held a news conference detailing his plans for his company. As you may recall in recent events, Lex Luthor was the previous owner of Lex Corp, but was recently arrested on many criminal charges on multiple levels. As such, the company was quickly acquired by a secret investor known to us now as Uzumaki Menma. The man not only gained control of Lex Corp, but vowed to quickly turn it into a company worth respecting. At a news conference earlier today, however, when Uzumaki Menma went into further detail regarding his plans for Whirlpool Inc., his recent action of bringing in what many have called questionable help into his company. The TV showed Uzumaki Menma standing there with the press in front of him, asking question after question before the man could even talk for himself. It was only after he raised his hand did the reporters stop talking and just let the photographers take pictures. As you know, when I became the head of Lex Corp and turned it into Whirlpool Inc., I said I would change things for the better. To help in that regard, I have asked one Dr. Pamela Isley to assist me in order to keep my word, said Uzumaki Menma to the now shocked press, and motioned for Pamela Isley. "Ah, ka!" Poison Ivy to the criminal underworld to step forward surprisingly in a professional business suit. Mr. Uzumaki, Lois Lane from the Daily Planet. A quick question. You are well aware Poison Ivy is in fact a criminal, correct? Wanted for multiple crimes not only in Gotham, but in other cities for her eco-terrorism stance against companies she had attacked over the years, asked Lois Lane quickly before one of the others could. Yes, I am well aware of the crimes Pamela Isley made over the years. However, I talked things over with the mayor of both Metropolis and Gotham City about this. After much talk and deliberation with the powers that be in both cities, it was decided that Dr. Isley would be put on a joint city probation period for an undisclosed amount of time. Seeing as Dr. Isley is an expert botanist, chemist, and geneticist in connection to plant life in general, I have decided to put her in charge of various environmental projects here at Whirlpool Inc. Now, before you question my actions on this, know that these projects are designed specifically for combating the toxicity in the soil, the rising filth in landfills, and making empty desert wastelands throughout the planet fit for living, whether for humans or other animals. These projects are designed to make the planet healthy again, so that human beings and other forms of life on it can continue to exist, said Menma while the press asked more loud random questions. Clark Kent, Daily Planet. Not to question your decision, Mr. Uzumaki, but many will suspect that your reasons here today for putting Dr. Isley in such a key position within your company is due to her persuasive charms. It is well known she has the means to manipulate men through spores and pollens made personally by her using those same chemistry skills you mentioned earlier, said Clark Kent with Menma nodding. Yes, I am well aware of those past events with Dr. Isley using these skills like you, said Mr. Kent. However, until recently a few days ago, I have never been in contact with Dr. Isley in any way, and my talks with the mayors of Gotham and Metropolis were done around the time I officially took control of LexCorp to turn it into Whirlpool Inc. As such, she had no way of manipulating me into giving her this position. I approached her with the offer, answered Menma, before allowing Pamela to address the media herself. Mr. Uzumaki is indeed correct. When he approached me in my little hideout, I was in to respectfully avoid the authorities for the warrant pertaining to my arrest. I was shocked by his offer. Naturally, I was concerned he was only recruiting me for my talents in order to make money and not live up to his belief the planet as a whole needed to be healed. But after seeing the advanced facilities here at Whirlpool Inc., I can tell you now that eco-terrorism will be far from my mind. Even now, Whirlpool Inc. will be ready to file reports with IPA regarding my work, my progress on each project, and Mr. Uzumaki has informed all major branches of the government of his willing to take full responsibility for any actions done that will be deemed illegal. He is putting his complete trust and faith in me to put my skills for the betterment of the planet in my hands. I have no intention of ever betraying his trust in regards to carrying out my work in a professional and above all else legal manner, said Pamela while she got a few chuckles at that last part. What about the rumors of you being associated with Harley Quinn? Do you know how she reacted to the Joker's death? Asked another reporter from another paper. I respectfully did run into Harley short after the massacre occurred at Arkham Asylum. And admittedly, she was upset at first, said Pamela, since she wasn't going to lie or be caught in a lie surrounding that event. At first? Asked the reporter in confusion. Yes. But after some time calming down from hearing the news, Harley was able to come to terms with what happened. What she decided to do following this news is unknown to me, but I can safely say Harley just wants to be left alone right now, and hopefully will find a means to cope with this event, said Pamela, while many were unsure if that was a good thing or a bad thing. Meanwhile, Harley Quinn's bedroom. Yes, fuck me, stud, fuck me, foxy, screamed Harley as she was being pressed back first against the glass of her screen door leading to the outside area of the penthouse with her ass pressed against it. All the while, Naruto was thrusting into her relentlessly while his mouth and hands were attacking Harley's breasts. She held on to him for dear life, moaning, crying out into his ear, and legs wrapped tightly around his waist. It had been one hell of an awesome start to the morning with Harley waking up naked next to an equally naked Naruto and decided to wake him up in a very pleasurable manner. Once she had drank the liquid greatness from his shaft, the energetic woman soon found herself on her back with Naruto on top, and proceeded to fuck the living crap out of her on the bed. Once that was done, Naruto got off the bed with her still attached to him, and pressed Harley against the glass screen door, with the coolness of the glass, making the woman moan from the sensation. "You are such a horny slut, Harley. How many times have you come so far and still want more from me?" asked Naruto, knowing the woman had a lot of stamina, and a demand for sex that clearly told him her past needs had not been met by anyone else. "Plenty of time, yet still not enough. I want more," declared Harley, with Naruto grinning from ear to ear when she came hard and shot his load into her yet again. "That can I do," said Naruto before he put Harley face first on the side of the bed and took the woman from behind. Harley could get enough of his big cock, and Naruto couldn't get enough her screams of pleasure from mounting the sexy woman from behind. Back at news conference at Whirlpool Inc. "Mr. Uzumaki, another quick question. Given your decision to employ Dr. Isley for her skills in the fields mentioned earlier, will your company be employing any other past criminals? And if so, who did you have in mind?" asked Clark Kent, while Menma just smiled at the man since they were fair and honest questions. "Respectfully, Mr. Kent, my answer is yes. I know that many of you are worried about my company going forward with such a policy. Given the nature of the criminals out there not quite being what you would call normal. But not all the criminals either on the run or imprisoned became the way they are willingly. I can name several people off the top of my head who became criminals simply because they had no other true alternative. Which is why a portion of the research being done by my company is designed to help those like them, in need of help, and use the medical technology we develop to heal the mental and physical scars they carry with them every day," said Menma, with many being surprised by this, and realized not all criminals were criminals, because they wanted to be such people. "Could you name several of these individuals you wish to help or have in mind to recruit to your company?" asked Lois Lane, while Menma nodded. "If it will ease the minds of the people here, of course. Victor Fries is a man I am seeking to employ regarding his cryo-freezing technology. There are many great diseases and illnesses out there that have yet to be cured and will no doubt not be cured for quite some time. To help combat this problem, I intend to ask Mr. Fries to assist Whirlpool Inc. in creating a safe means to place such people into special cryotubes capable of sustaining their lives until a cure can be found," said Menma, while many were surprised to hear this since they did not expect such a person to be employed by him. "Who will benefit from this service? And will you be cooperating with the Justice League in sharing such technology in the future should they ask for it?" asked Lois curiously. "While I have no problem working with the Justice League, I also prefer to work with them on my terms. Meaning when I am ready, I will gladly work out some form of fair business agreement with them. But I am not ready right now. I have much to work on, and so do my employees with their many projects. Thank you for your time here today, ladies and gentlemen. This news conference is over," said Menma, while the reporters tried to ask him more questions, while photographers took more pictures of him. Wayne Manor at the moment. Bruce Wayne turned off the TV and sighed at this latest turn of events. Not only was he in hiding as Batman within his own city, but Menma was being seen as a public hero in Metropolis, using his company to help those who had certain problems forced upon them. However, the fact he was planning to employ Victor Fries only told Bruce that Menma was in fact the mysterious ninja who attacked Arkham, and was Itachi's master. At the very least, the mysterious master in question had given the order to Menma to proceed with such a plan, and make Whirlpool Inc. the shining beacon all companies should aspire to becoming in Metropolis. But what was the goal? Why employ Poison Ivy? Was Menma even in control of his own mind? Bruce wouldn't put it past Pamela to manipulate the man to some degree to get what she wanted in terms of access to highly advanced technology, to plan some scheme to make plants the dominant form of life on the planet. Normally, Batman would go investigate this problem, given it involved several criminals from his city, but the fact remained the risk of going there brought further risk to Alfred Commissioner Gordon, or even Barber Gordon. A cake she I pay a bad. Not to mention that the ninjas he had angered might target Nightwing, Robin, and anyone else associated with the Dark Knight, if not Bruce Wayne in general. So who could he count on to spy or infiltrate Whirlpool Inc. without any attempt being traced back to him, so none of the people close to him could be harmed in the process? Surprisingly, the list in his head was very short since Batman knew, or read up on every hero on the planet just like they all did on him. The same could be said for Bruce Wayne, and any one of them asked would wonder why, with the risk of the plan for them to spy for him being revealed. What if Menma was the ninja assassin who attacked Arkham and had proceeded to slaughter many of the inmates there? The man made it clear through his past and recent actions that he would not hesitate in ending lives with a command or flick of his own wrists in terms of doing the deed himself. Sadly, the only thing Batman or Bruce Wayne could do was keep a low profile within Gotham City as the former until such a time came where things calmed down. Metropolis sometime later. Supergirl was flying on her usual patrol, same old same old. But the young woman going around ensure the city's populace were safe did not feel that way. Her erotic dreams were, for the lack of a better words, getting worse. She had dreamed of different places where the strange long blonde-haired, multicolored eyes and incredible physique had sex with her. It had been driving Kara pretty much crazy since the dreams were constantly making her wake up in sweat and female juices. Kara couldn't even count the number of times she had to change her bedsheets almost every morning or explain to her friends why she was so red in the face all the time. They, of course, teased her, saying she met a boy and went on a date. One even asked how far she got, and the growing blush made some of them think it was getting close to going all the way with said boy. Of course, Kara denied it, saying her cousin Clark would kill such a person if he ever found out, and knew that her friends knew that Clark Kent was a very protective cousin when it came to boys being interested in her. He was like the protective older brother who could give a boy an imposing stare with the looming threat of destruction should you hurt his sweet, innocent female cousin. Which was why they finally believed her when she said there was no boyfriend, and had not gone all the way with said boyfriend if he even existed. Which he didn't. Though why it felt like that with those damn dreams, she had no idea. Kara almost wished the dreams would become violent nightmares again. At least those were somewhat more tolerable. Almost. This particular spot she was patrolling caught her interest because one of the areas she had seen herself in these dreams was close by. In fact, Kara suspected this was where her dream self resided due to the penthouses being nearby. Not to mention the majority of her dreams involving doing that in a penthouse bedroom of sorts. In fact, Kara got the distinct feeling she would find answers to this soon enough. So when she came upon one of several penthouses in this part of Metropolis, the female Kryptonian's face burned up again as her super hearing picked up the sounds of sexual activity going on nearby. Ordinarily, Kara would block it out using the training Clark had taught her when controlling the powers surrounding the 5 major senses, but for some reason the idea of hearing this extremely passionate act going on had made the woman want to get closer. So she did. Flying closer to the penthouse in question, she knew the sounds were coming from. Kara focused on where the sounds of the sexual act was occurring, and used her eyes to see inside the building. Sure, it was technically considered peeping, but Kara felt it had to be done for security reasons just to be sure this wasn't something else entirely. A better safe than sorry approach to stop any potential crime from being committed, instead of what she was seeing now with her own 2 eyes. And what was Kara seeing now? She was seeing the orange-skinned, red-haired Tamarin known as Starfire on her back, on a decent-sized coffee table, legs spread, and the same man from the dreams thrusting into her. But surprisingly, what really got Kara's attention was the naked blonde-haired woman with them. A woman who, aside from having shorter hair, looked almost exactly like Kara, if only a bit older age-wise, and was screaming out in pleasure due to Starfire's mouth on her lower regions. Who was this woman? Who was the strange man? Why was Starfire here? Wasn't the Tamarin woman supposed to be on an island somewhere in exile until her ranging libido calmed down? And why couldn't she stop looking away, knowing to look any longer was wrong? Before Kara could even understand what to do next, given her uncertainty and her own desires from watching the threesome in action now rising up, the trap had been sprung. The blonde man somehow shot several ethereal chains from his very back, out the open balcony doors, which Kara only now realized had been open from the start, and wrapped them around Supergirl's body with one wrapping around her mouth to prevent a scream. With a hard yank from the retracting of the chains, Kara found herself brought into the penthouse before she was shocked, almost mercilessly, with lightning that traveled from the blonde man's body through the chains into her. Right before Supergirl fell unconscious, she could still see and hear 3 of them going at it without a care in the world. She didn't understand how those three could continue on in such a manner after Kara had been dragged into the room and shocked unmercifully like this. How was he even hurting her in such a way? Some kind of magic. Had she stayed conscious a few seconds later, Kara would have heard the mischievous chuckling of a crazy blonde-haired woman currently rubbing her hands together and seen a certain sorceress a few feet away. It would have been quite the intimidating sight, if not for the fact both women were also naked, dripping with sweat, among other things, and now eyeing Supergirl as their new favorite toy. It was actually more amazing that the continued sounds caused from the threesome didn't wake Supergirl up shortly after she fell unconscious. Penthouse Naruto's bedroom sometime later. Kara felt very uncomfortable when she woke up. At first she tried to remember what had happened to lead her to this situation. It was only when she fully opened her eyes and the sight in front of her caused the memory to hit like a punch to the face by Solomon Grundy. The memory of her finding the blonde man, Starfire, and a slightly older, more developed-looking version of herself, engaged in sexual activity found mostly in a porno. It didn't help that she was seeing another sexual act in front of her right now. "You're awake. That's good. I was really hoping my lightning I shocked you with earlier wasn't too much. I know from experience that Galatea can take such punishment, but you are slightly on the younger side, so it's difficult to properly gauge the output," said Naruto while sitting on the edge of the bed, while the woman between his legs moved her head up and down on his cock. What happened? How did you bind me in chains? Why can't I move? Why are you doing that in front of me?" demanded Kara with her face now blushing red at the sight of sexual activity, while finding her arms bound in magical energy. Kara's struggling revealed she was also hanging high up on the wall from the given angle where she had to stare down at him. And why did it feel breezy in this room, and why was her butt hurting? To answer your question in order, you were spying on me having a threesome with two hot alien women. Something man has dreamed of doing since first looking up at the stars. It sounds cheesy and corny. I know, but it's true. Ask any man wanting to go into space and read his mind. It will say, "I want to go into space in order to get some hot, sexy alien pussy," while they give you some bullshit answer. Second, the chains are a family skill I can use in battle, or when I'm in the mood for kinky sex with one of my girls. Third, you can't move because Tala here, who is currently sucking me off like a pro, used her magic to bind you, so your strength is totally useless. I also added my own security measures to ensure your other powers won't work until I say otherwise. And finally, I'm doing this to you, Supergirl, in order to get you so incredibly aroused that your body's desire to be with a man like me will override your other senses," answered Naruto in amusement at seeing Kara's current situation, and wondered when she was going to realize why certain parts of her body felt this way. Leave it to Harley to make things fun and interesting for him. That woman knew how to spice up his sex life. It was actually a shame Mercy and Pamela weren't here to help him enjoy this. But sadly, the two had to work at Whirlpool Inc. with his clone, so they would be getting home late. Well, Pamela would, since Mercy had to unfortunately stay at her place to keep the nosy reporters sniffing around his company from getting suspicious. The same with Pamela regarding residential spots, since the news media was just waiting with drooling anticipation of her screwing up just a little to report it to the world. So he had something close to the company bought and paid for, so she wouldn't have that issue of traveling far while dealing with their crap. Of course, his shadow clone would make it up to both women with discreet, yet incredibly hot office sex. More fuel for the Icha paradise. Double hot office ladies, the super edition. Unfortunately, not that all the news reporters were going to target Pamela just to get something on the transformed company. Lois Lane had been spotted and was caught snooping around by the much more efficient security he hired. Lex, being Lex, had always hired second-rate guards in order to keep his profits high, and his costs low, with the end result being you get what you pay for, which was mostly incompetence mixed with blind loyalty by those men he hired. They would screw up when dealing with someone like, say, Superman, but they would keep their mouths shut when the police questioned them about Luthor's actions and played the "I didn't see anything" card. But not Naruto, or at least his shadow clone under the name Uzumaki Menma. The copy of the man hired ex-military, but went through an extremely thorough screening process where his security would not only give orders, but they would obey orders when commanded by someone higher up in the chain of command, without going trigger-happy psycho on people. And unlike with Lex in being mean to everyone in sight, including the nosy reporter in any confrontation, Naruto's shadow clone came to see her himself for a brief yet polite talk about how such things were, for the lack of a better word. Menma had ordered Lois to be gently taken off company grounds, and he warned the Bloodhound reporter that if she tried something like this ever again, there would be criminal charges filed against her. Multiple charges, in fact, and a massive lawsuit against the Daily Planet for hiring such a woman. Naruto personally didn't want to do, since the man himself, and his shadow clone, liked their paper. Hence the firm warning to Lois to think twice, or she would find herself in a whole lot of unwanted trouble with the newspaper she loved to work at, paying the price in the long run. Scowling with a sense of fury, Kara tried to use her heat vision, but was surprised to find it wouldn't work. Struggling to fly to make this strange, uncomfortable feeling lessen, she found that ability was gone too, and the attempt only made the pain worse. It didn't help that Kara still felt the coolness on her skin, and it was only after she looked down at her form did the super-heroine let out a small scream. Her superhero attire consisting of her white shirt with the S symbol on it, the cape that went with it, and the short blue skirt were missing. To further add to the embarrassment, Kara realized her bra was missing too, and found out the reason behind her discomfort in hanging there was due to her white panties being stretched. Someone, Harley, had given Supergirl a massive wedgie with the waistband of the undergarment being placed on a hook attached to the wall, reinforced with Fuinjutsu by Naruto, while someone, again Harley, put magically laced nipple clamps on her breasts. Oh, don't be so overdramatic. Starfire and Galatea enjoyed what you are going through right now, commented Tala while she licked the head of Naruto's cock. When I get out of here, I'm going to, exclaimed Supergirl angrily while trying to fight the arousal that her body was slowly feeling, much to the woman's growing horror. To do what? To do what with what clothing? Are you going to fight me while wearing ruined, stretched-out panties? Are you going to fight me naked? I haven't really done that before with the girls, but I'll try it out if you were into that kind of thing, asked Naruto in a taunting voice, while Kara blushed and struggled a bit. But it only made the situation worse. She must be into it, since I find the idea appealing. Plus, I can see she is slowly getting aroused down south, remarked Galatea, walking naked into the room with Harley, who was also naked, but wielding a wicked-looking paddle laced with magic. Shut up! I am not enjoying this. And who are you? Why do you even look like me to an extent? Asked Kara while Galatea chuckled at how the bound woman was so clueless. Isn't it obvious? I am you, or rather, I am a clone of you to be more precise, enhanced to physical peak perfection in terms of performance. This is what you will look like in the near future. Jealous, commented Galatea with Kara looking so shocked that she didn't hear Naruto groan before coming in Tala's mouth. A clone? But how? Who would do that to me? Asked Kara while Galatea walked over to Naruto, who slowly removed Tala's mouth from his junk and sighed blissfully when Galatea now sat reverse cowgirl style on his erection, so the two were staring at the bound superheroine. That's not important right now. Those responsible for it have been dealt with, and the organization that supported the process is on life support with my hand on the plug. They are no longer your concern, said Naruto while his hands were on Galatea's breasts and giving them the attention the woman felt they deserved. Naruto's right, Supergirl. Your only concern now is figuring out how long it will take to pass out after all the orgasms you are going to get real soon, remarked Harley, with a crazy grin on her face and paddle in hand ready to swing. Hey, I'm not like that, protested Supergirl while she eyed the paddle nervously and saw it was laced with magical energy, which meant it hit where Kara suspected it would hit. If Harley used the paddle, it would hurt a lot. Are you sure? How many times did you wake up from touching yourself following one of your naughty dreams? How many times have you had to change the bed sheets? You must go through a lot of laundry. I'd even wager you've simply slept in the nude because you went through so many of your panties every day, commented Galatea while moving up and down on Naruto's cock slowly, while seeing Supergirl was currently trying, and failing, to not look remotely interested in act itself. It also didn't help Kara could only really look in their direction, given the angle she was hanging from, and the uncomfortable position she was clearly in right now. That is none of your business, exclaimed Supergirl, but cried out in pain when Harley grabbed her leg and pulled down hard. Easy there, super slut. No need to deny the truth, remarked Harley before she released her leg. Don't call me that, demanded Kara while Harley grinned a crazy grin. Or what? I'll call you whatever the hell I want. You should consider yourself lucky that I haven't gotten my own hands on your wonderful body yet. And with this awesome thing right here in my hands, I could make you admit how slutty you really are in 5 minutes flat, said Harley with the paddle in hand and smacking her free hand with it, while giving Kara a wink. It only made Supergirl blush harder and shiver at what would most likely happen real soon. I'm not like that, protested Kara while everyone around her grinned or laughed. You say that now, but wait until after you see what Naruto can do to a body like mine, said Galatea, knowing with their mental link and being so close in proximity, it would only make the feelings projected onto Kara become even stronger. I'd rather go blind, exclaimed Kara while Galatea laughed and moaned while rocking against Naruto with his cock thrusting into her pussy. We'll see, remarked Galatea while she smirked at Supergirl and knew the other woman was not going to be looking away anytime soon. She was her in a sense after all. Gotham City Arkham Asylum. You drive a hard bargain, Ninja, came the gravely voice of Harvey Dent. Ah! Two-Face with his coin in hand and flipping it in the air. It is not hard a bargain at all, Mr. Dent. I apologize for pausing, as I would normally just call people nicknames befitting their appearance. But my master has ordered me not to do that with you on account of whatever nickname I give. Will no doubt make you very angry. He does not wish for me to upset you while talking in a civilized manner, replied Sai, as he had disabled all of the alarms, knocked out. No kills this time. Security guards and his fake smile ultimately making the other inmates keep their mouths shut, since it was actually Creepier Hen, the Joker's own, when the man was alive. At least there was emotion on that psycho's face. This pale-skinned, fake-smiling man for a ninja made them nervous, because of the simple fact the smile was empty. And it was those kind of people who were truly the worst psychopaths of all. For when they did something horrible, they felt nothing before, during, or after it was done. I see. So your master wants me to be whole again. To be Harvey Dent over that of Two-Face. And in return, I get a clean slate while being under his employ for his company's legal team. Is that right? Asked Harvey with Sai nodding. Yes. Not only that, but with this new second chance at life, my master knows you will be able to finally marry the woman you love. Grace Lamont, if I heard correctly, replied Sai while Harvey grabbed his coin and clutched it tightly in his hand at the mention of his former fiancée, Grace. Do not speak her name, Ninja. I won't tell you a second time, threatened Harvey, while Sai simply nodded. Of course, my apologizes. But I felt it was necessary to provide further incentive to get your two sides to agree to this. From what my master has learned, she still loves you very much and wants you to be whole again. Like I said, this could be your second chance at not just becoming whole, but being with the woman you love too. Only a fool would turn this down, and Harvey Dent nor Two-Face would reject this opportunity because neither of you are fools, replied Sai with Harvey narrowing his eye on his one good side. You have made your point, or rather 2 points. So that being said, we will flip for it. The fate of my future will reside on what has always been the great equalizer. Unbiased, incorruptible, fair, heads. I take the offer, tails. I break out of here and wring your neck until it breaks like a chicken, said Harvey before he flipped the coin into the air while watching Sai from beyond the glass window of his cell. And the pale-skinned ninja just kept smiling at him without fear. When it landed in Harvey's hand, he clenched it tightly like a vice, feeling the jagged edges of the coin actually drawing blood, and not just because of his firm grip. He did it deliberately to help remember this moment. A moment where he chose to be healed or forever be this mentally broken man. A chance at happiness and redemption, or the life of chaos and destruction with only the coin keeping him in check when making any key decision in his life. Putting it on the back of his free hand, Harvey, for the first time ever, paused in wanting to look at which side of the coin would be shown. Dare he look, dare he gaze at the final decision maker and accept the outcome. Closing his eyes to prepare both sides of his two personalities, the man opened them seconds later and raised his hand to reveal the side of the coin that would ultimately decide his fate. I will inform my master of your decision. Goodbye, Mr. Dent. It was a pleasure speaking with you. My master also wished for me to give you this item in the event such a moment came to pass, said Sai before carefully placing a slightly rolled-up photograph into the air hole of the glass, bowed, and left into the shadows. Taking the slightly rolled-up photo from the air hole, Harvey Dent for the first time in a long time dropped his coin and didn't care it happened. For the photo Sai had left was of a beautiful woman. Harvey knew all too well, and he gently held the photo in both hands while fighting back the tears both personalities wished to unleash. Grace, I will ask for your forgiveness one day. I have delayed us for too long. No more. I will be whole. I will make us whole, said Harvey while putting the picture in his suit pocket before reaching for the discarded coin, and for the first time ever, the impulse to flip it wasn't there. Outside of Arkham, Sai smiled as he turned to look at the shadows. Having sensed the figure waiting for him, there shortly after leaving Arkham. It wasn't Batman. The Dark Knight would have never approached him like this unless it was to capture him for future interrogation. Batgirl was out since she had conveniently left the city for another one on a top-secret mission only Batman knew about. Nightwing was still with the Titans, and was no doubt currently in a passionate love-making session with Raven. Robin wouldn't dare approach given he was too young, and Batman would never let this one go around unless it was on a tight leash after the previous bird went out on his own. You can come out now. I won't kill you unless you want to kill me first, said Sai, while the figure from the shadows came out to reveal a beautiful woman in a black skin, tight sneaking suit that did nothing to hide her beautiful body with long luscious brown hair covering a good portion of her face. You are good, ninja. My men could learn something from you, said the woman while Sai just kept smiling his fake smile. Thank you for your kind praise, mystery woman. But sadly I don't think your men could handle the cruel training I went through. The side effects of it have long-term mental problems attached to them, said Sai while the woman frowned slightly. I am Talia al Ghul. I wish to speak to you on behalf of my father, said Talia while she saw Sai nodding. I'm familiar with your father, and so does the master I serve. However, my master also respectfully questions his methods and how to achieve them. At the same time, he does not wish to cause ripples for the organization your father leads, replied Sai, while basically stating he, along with Naruto, wished to stay neutral with Ra's al Ghul for the time being. I figured as much. But I was commanded to reach your master by my father, and from what I have seen with your other comrade, you two answer to him, and that is enough for me, said Talia with Sai's smile increasing. So Itachi was right in sensing someone was watching him. The fact you didn't speak to him earlier says you were unsure on how, remarked Sai since Naruto had been told by the phantom of Itachi. He sensed someone was watching him recently from the shadows, but was not Batman. At the time, your fellow comrade was getting too much attention from both Batman and the Gotham police for what he did earlier. I felt approaching another subordinate, who was not as active as him, was a much better way of approaching things, said Talia with Sai, nodding. You chose wisely, mystery woman. Now what is it you wish to discuss? I have much to do, and my master has put me on quite the deadline to complete the various missions I am assigned here in this city, replied Sai, with Talia taking a controlled, yet deep breath. My father requires your help, or rather your master's help in taking down Batman on a more permanent level, replied Talia with the tone of her voice, saying she didn't like the idea of her beloved being killed. And by taken down permanently, you mean killed, said Sai bluntly with Talia nodding. Yes, but I convinced my father that such an option should be considered a last resort for now, though it wasn't easy. My father deeply respects Batman, and I have my own reasons for not wanting him dead. I believe such an act will only hurt my father at some point in the long term of regrets in his long life, and create some form of resentment of him by me. What I propose now is to alter the objective my father gave me to remove Batman from the board, replied Talia with Sai, nodding in understanding. You want him to live but not be a threat to your father or his organization at the same time. I understand that. You love the dark, broody man, said Sai while Talia narrowed her eyes at him at being seen so easily, and the slight insult to her beloved. Yes, I do love him. He is everything I want in a man. Strong, intelligent, fearless, and a cunning warrior in the heat of battle. He would have been the perfect heir to my father's empire if not for one simple yet powerful flaw, replied Talia while Sai nodded. Yes, I know. He refuses to kill his enemies, and instead shows those unworthy of mercy a second chance. A rather noticeable flaw when you know how to look at things from the perspective of the shadows. And yet, I sense there is more to this situation. Love alone from you is not enough to suddenly alter the order your strict father gave to you to have Batman killed, replied Sai with Talia's eyes widening in shock, before she hesitated in what she wanted to say to him. A few years ago, my beloved and I spent some time together. We were passionate with each other. We made love, or at least I like to think we did. The end result from our night together brought about something wonderful many months later. But fearing his reaction, I did not tell him, and as such I have spent my time protecting this wonderful thing in my own way. But now, I am not enough, replied Talia with Sai, tilting his head slightly. I see. You need him to devote the rest of his time to your son, remarked Sai before he moved quickly to dodge the hail of bullets Talia fired from her now drawn silencer pistol. Do not speak such things so loudly again. There are ears everywhere in the shadows, and many of them are not loyal to me, said Talia. She had kept her son's existence from her father for some time. But he was getting suspicious as of late, making inquiries into her past movements. What she was doing, where she had been going, anything strange in what she bought. It was only a matter of time before he discovered his grandson, and would seek to claim him in order to become his new heir by blood and belief. While Talia did feel honored to some degree if that happened, she also saw the horror behind it in seeing the innocent boy she had brought screaming into the world, being turned into such a ruthless individual when older. To see the innocence of her boy being killed and replaced by a younger version of her father taking control of the League of Assassins, along with the Society of Shadows. She didn't want that for her son. She wanted him to be happy, healthy, and free from a life stained with the blood of countless lives. Innocent lives, like her son's own. Oh, she had trained to fight, of course. If Talia didn't, and her father found out about him beforehand, her father would have killed the child while deeming him too weak to be his child's child. Not even the simple fact, said child was Bruce Wayne's wouldn't have deterred Ra's al Ghul from ending his grandson's life. In fact, he would have done the deed himself if the child was weak to not only avenge the honor of his own bloodline, but the bloodline of Bruce Wayne himself, in some twisted fashion of doing it out of respect. Understood. Though why come to me? Why not speak to Batman yourself about this? Questioned Sai while Talia looked away. Because I have not been in contact with him since the night of our child's conception, and feared what he would think of me if I suddenly told him. My beloved might see it as a trap to bind him into my father's service. He might also reject the child and deny him to prevent such influence from being used by my father in the future. There is also the issue of my movements being monitored more carefully. At least this way I can get a message out to him, and you can ensure he considers leaving the life of Batman, if only for a time to be a father to our child, said Talia almost in a whisper. I will have to speak to my master about this piece of information. I cannot guarantee we will work to bring Batman down using his hidden progeny. I assume you know this, said Sai while Talia nodded before she threw a picture at him, which he caught with ease. Just get the message out to him for me. Given his own situation with the police, I think it's time for the Dark Knight to retreat into the darkness for now, and try being a father to his son, replied Talia before she retreated back into the shadows. Sai waited until he knew she was gone before looking at the photo she threw at him, to see it was a picture of Talia al Ghul, sitting almost majestically in a chair with a dark, short-haired child sitting on her lap, like a well-mannered boy should look. Both of them were smiling happily at the camera, and Sai could see the smiles were genuine. You wouldn't even think this beautiful woman was really an international assassin upon seeing her in the picture. Hot and sexy? Yes, without question. But a notorious criminal and serving two equally notorious organizations. Never. Though it was clear the child was indeed one of innocence not unlike what Bruce Wayne himself might have had a long time ago. Before his own parents met their end, and the darkness destroyed it. Putting the picture away, Sai would get permission to carry out this side mission given to him by Talia al Ghul. But first, he had a notorious shape-shifting mass of clay to find in this massive city, and offer the man a chance to be healed. The watchtower at the moment? Batman sat with the founding members of the Justice League. Some were all set to go to the wedding on Amarak and wanted to get this over with. In fact, the extra-large javelin was all set to take all those going to the wedding on Amarak. Right after this meeting was over, Flash had put everyone's stuff in their transport ahead of time so they wouldn't have to do it once this was over. The only one of the founding members not here was Diana, and that was only because she was already on Almerac to hopefully know more about its overall culture. Batman could only hope she, along with Big Barda, could get along with Queen Maxima without causing some kind of war. Across from them were the Titans from Jump City, and none of them looked happy to be here in the slightest. Of course, no one in this room wanted to be here either, so the feeling was mutual to everyone for different reasons. Though the one person who really didn't want to be here was the source of the meeting itself. Beast Boy, do you know how damaging your situation is right now? Asked Batman with his glare aimed at the green-skinned changeling. Yeah, I kind of do, Mr. Batman, sir, whispered Beast Boy while looking down, and heard Batman growl at him. No, you don't know. Your perverse actions being brought out like that have damaged the reputation of the Titans and the Justice League to some extent. People now question if other heroes like your comrades in Jump City, those in Titans East in Steel City, and even if the Justice League have any type of perversions. You have single-handedly tarnished the reputations of these organizations, said Batman angrily, with his level of anger being higher than usual. Of course, this was hardly usual for someone like him. But it wasn't my fault. Not really. Tara said she wanted to do some stuff, and one thing led to another before it got really freaky. I couldn't even protest. I was quickly gagged by her and couldn't say anything at all. I couldn't even transform into any known animal of any kind to escape the ropes, protested Beast Boy, while Raven glowered at him for even mentioning Tara. Sure that the letter the blonde left behind helped explain certain things, but Raven still needed time to heal from the emotional wounds Tara had unknowingly contributed. Nightwing secretly grabbing Raven's hand to give it an assuring squeeze calmed the sorceress down, but the warrior knew his girlfriend would need some serious attention later. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't have had her there in the first place. She has no powers and therefore wasn't considered a Titan. You were irresponsible, and so were the other members of your team for allowing it. Batman nearly yelled while Beast Boy let out an eep and turned into a mouse before hiding behind Cyborg. Hey, don't hide behind me, protested Cyborg, since he didn't want to be made a target by the Justice League's founding members. The fact remains, Beast Boy, your actions with this Tara woman are intolerable in every sense of the word. You not only allowed this woman to do such things to you, but made a mockery of everything we stand for. What if Tara had secretly been an assassin, and she was using you? Your team could have been killed in a single night, and we would be left scrambling to find out why that was the case, commented John, while Batman nodded in full agreement. I'm sorry. All right. What more do you want from me? Whined Beast Boy like a child being scolded for doing something wrong and didn't like being scolded. What do we want? What we want, Beast Boy, is you gone from the Titans immediately. We want you gone from any superhero organization in general. You are blacklisted from ever associating with us, the Titans, any superhero group which arises in the future, and any superhero in general. As of now, you cannot join a group, you cannot make a group, and you will not be allowed to aid any group in the future until further notice by us, said Superman at this point, knowing they had to lay down the law hard on Beast Boy for his actions. But what will I do? Where will I go? I have nothing. No money, no food, no place to stay, protested Beast Boy while he saw the Justice League founding members and the Titans around him, giving him I don't care look that shocked him to the core. That's not our problem. Whatever personal items you have in Titan's Tower back in Jump City, you are to pack it up and leave the city itself by the end of the day, said Batman coldly, while Beast Boy was practically crying right there on the spot. But my stuff is... I don't have a place for it outside of the tower. Where will I put it if I don't have a place to stay? Whined Beast Boy as everyone around him looked at the green changeling with disgust. You should have thought about that before engaging in such things that would shame us, your comrades, and your friends around you. Take him away. commanded Batman, with Cyborg being the one to do it since he didn't want to be near the Dark Knight when the man was this angry. "Where is Tara?" asked Shayera once Beast Boy and Cyborg were out of the room. "Steel City. She is with Speedy over at Titan's East," answered Nightwing calmly, before he glanced at Raven, and gave her a nod before the woman floated the letter over to the table with her powers. "What's this?" asked Batman while taking the letter. "It's from Tara. She wrote it and left it for me before leaving for Steel City. She told me everything," answered Raven while Nightwing nodded since he read the letter too, and knew it was in her handwriting. Batman opened the letter, reading its contents carefully word for word, dissecting all of it one sentence at a time. When he finished reading it, the letter was handed to Shayera to read, who growled upon seeing the contents and handed it to Flash. Eventually, the letter itself made its way back in Batman's hands again, who folded it up and put the item back on the table. "I see. Very disturbing. And you believe her?" asked Batman, with Nightwing and Raven nodding. What she apologized for and what it caused in the process are things only a handful of people knew at the time. Someone told her about the end result of Beast Boy's actions, and it was the main reason she retaliated on my behalf. "Tara isn't a threat to the Titans or the Justice League," said Raven, while Batman scowled at this since he suspected those damn ninjas were secretly orchestrating this somehow. He couldn't prove it, but his instincts told him otherwise. "We will have Speedy bring her in just to be sure." "You may go," said John, with the two heroes nodding and leaving the room. "So, are we canceling our guest seats at the wedding?" asked Flash, knowing this League business could be handled now or later. "No, this can wait for a little while longer. Speedy isn't leaving Titan's East for a time and can keep Tara with him until we ask to bring her in. Besides, I think we could all use some time away from all of this after what happened," remarked Shayera while wishing she could handle this issue with Beast Boy the Thanagarian way. A hard strike with her mace to the skull, and the skull going crunch. On impact. Gotham City, the Iceberg Lounge. Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin for his physical features, was a former criminal who got out of the illegal business that put him in Arkham Asylum and into the legitimate business of fine dining of the highest quality. He had long since realized for his health and living long, and not being in jail, rotten half the time when caught, that scheme of stealing valuable items was not in the cards. So the man decided to do his time honorably, not escape, enter the rehabilitation parole program, and made something of himself. It wasn't easy, of course. It was why so many criminals turned to crime when they got out in the first place. No one made things easy for them. People wouldn't hire released convicts or inmates when they got out, despite what laws of the land that were in place said otherwise. Unless the said laws allowed for dreading to reveal the truth behind why a former criminal wasn't hired, which it didn't, getting a legitimate job was damn near impossible. But Oswald endured it. He was a survivor like the actual penguins themselves. As such, he scrapped, saved, and gathered as much money, all legally, as possible to set out to buy, and therefore own, a restaurant meant for Gotham City's high-class, rich elite. He made the restaurant a place for sophistication, where the rich could go to eat food at super high prices simply because they could easily afford it, and thus made them believe they were better than everyone else. Rich snobs, the lot of them. But it didn't bother Oswald, though, despite how some of his clientele sneered in his direction when walking by, due to his past criminal record. Money was money after all, and it was the money of the rich that kept his place very much afloat, like a rubber ducky splashing around in a tub. Not to mention the side business of gathering information, and then selling it to those who were willing to pay top dollar for it, depending on the information itself. Which was not necessarily illegal in a sense on his end, since the information he did pick up was easily being blabbed about by his guests, who eat his food, drink his expensive drinks, and talk loudly for other people to hear. He wasn't even really spying, just casually overhearing sensitive information that someone else might like to know about, and was willing to offer compensation for it. "You really need a better security system, Mr. Cobblepot," remarked Itachi after coming out of the shadows of the man's office, and scaring the former criminal in the process. "I heard about you, ninja. You killed all those people in Arkham a while back," exclaimed Oswald nervously, while wishing he had one of his more useful umbrellas back from his criminal days. "Close, but no. That was my master. I am here to see you at his request, replied Itachi while Oswald began to sweat since he didn't want to die. I haven't committed any crimes in years. I went clean. I run a legitimate business, said Oswald, while Itachi nodded. That you do? It is quite impressive to say the least. Though I wonder if it would be so impressive if people knew of your side business in selling information for profit. While not illegal in a sense given your lounge is a public place where you heard it, I'm quite sure some of the information you sold was not something certain parties wanted revealed. No doubt these angry parties will be looking to violently hurt whoever sang about such information to those who benefited from paying you, remarked Itachi with Oswald now sweating further. I don't suppose you wish to make a deal for your silence on the matter, asked Oswald with Itachi laughing. I suppose we could come to an agreement, hence why I am here in the first place. My master wishes to employ your services for the long term for as long as you are valuable. He know you hear things because of your criminal past due to the fact that some of your clientele is not all reputable. So he is willing to offer you generous amounts of money for the information you get him, provided you confirm it is indeed accurate, and a possible bonus in the end if the information leads to something more beneficial. At the same time, we will also be protecting you in the event certain unknown parties decide to muscle in on your business, legitimate or information-wise, and ensure the offending parties are all properly removed. Does that sound acceptable? Offered Itachi with Oswald nodding quickly. It is fair. All I ask is for discretion. While the Batman's influence is weakening with the police now on his cape tail, I don't need him figuring out I'm working for your master and hauling me back to prison, said Oswald with Itachi nodding. We are ninja, Mr. Cobblepot. Discretion is second nature to us, replied Itachi, while the former criminal sighed in relief. In that case, is there anything you require regarding my services? Asked Oswald, while deciding to keep himself in the good graces of an actual ninja who wasn't afraid to end his life. That depends. I'm looking for Matt Hagen, or as you may know him as Clayface, said Itachi with Oswald looking shocked by this. Clayface? Why him? Not to question you or anything, but still, I can't see a reason to go after him, said Oswald while Itachi tilted his head slightly.
My assignment is not to kill him. I need his location for another one of my comrades so he can complete his own. Clayface has proven to be very elusive in hiding, even to us with his shape-shifting abilities. But someone like you no doubt hears things pertaining to his abilities from time to time, said Itachi with Oswald nodding.
I may have heard a few things pertaining to a strange mud creature in the old Gotham factories, rumored to be walking around. Granted, it's only rumors, mind you, and second or third-hand information at best. Some of my loyal patrons bring their kids with them here, and they tend to tell tall tales when mingled with other brats from other wealthy families who visit my establishment. While it could be Clayface, the possibility of it being him is very thin. Wet paper thin, replied Oswald, while Itachi nodded in understanding. Pleasure. It is better than nothing. Here. Take this as a show of good faith on our part for doing business with us in the future, replied Itachi, before he threw several large rolls of money onto Oswald's desk. Pleasure doing business with you. Tell your master he may visit anytime. I will arrange for a private booth for him should he wish it, offered Oswald while Itachi nodded. Thank you, Mr. Cobblepot. Until next time one of us meets you again, replied Itachi before he was gone via a flock of crows. Why do I get myself involved with the strange entities of the world? Asked Oswald to himself, while putting the money away in his safe. Metropolis Naruto's penthouse suite. Naruto had to admit, Kara was much more resistant to his means of seducing her to his whims than he first thought. After hours on end of exposing Supergirl, in more ways than one, to his harem of women, and the sexual intimacy he had with them, she had finally couldn't take it anymore. The scent of sex had invaded Kara's nose, the sight of each woman taken one after the other by Naruto, and the psychic link shared with Galatea on all things sexual in nature, with him, were too much for her. Common sense and decency with her mind had been overpowered by biological urges within the brain, compelling Supergirl to submit to this den of debauchery she was seeing with her own two eyes, to submit to her own awakened sexual desires, to submit to the sexual pleasure she was getting from the sight of it, from the smell of it, and from the women around her who would be caressing her while they were covered in it. To not only submit to them, but to submit to him. Hence, why she was now on top of him, holding on for dear life while riding his cock, her mouth attached to his own, and their tongue mashing together. Behind her, Harley had a wicked gleam in her eyes, while staring at the giant paddle made red marks on Supergirl's butt, and quickly struck the right cheek hard. Kara screamed into Naruto's mouth, while the man grinned despite kissing her. She cried out again when feeling another strike courtesy of Harley hitting the other cheek with the magic-laced paddle. While this had been going on for a while, Naruto had his hands on her breasts and giving them stimulation of both pain and pleasure. And all the while this was going on, the other women watched. Look at her. A short while ago, she was being a prude in denial of her sexual nature. And now, commented Tala while seeing Supergirl lost in a haze of lust. Now she is a pain-loving slut, declared Harley before smacking Supergirl's exposed red butt with another swing of her paddle and got the woman to moan again. It was clear that Harley absolutely adored this thing. It was officially now one of her new favorite toys. And if this thing could make a female Kryptonian scream out in pleasure after a couple hundred swings to her butt, imagine what it could do on, say, a certain red-haired Tamaran, or maybe one of those stuck-up man-hating Amazons. While Wonder Woman wasn't such an Amazon and was rumored to be in a relationship with Superman himself, who was to say that yet another one of those uptight Amazons decided to leave the island and needed a good old-fashioned paddling to the butt. Wait, wasn't Donna Troy the slightly younger sister of Wonder Woman, and was doing her own solo heroine deal right now? Grinning evilly, Harley made a large mental note the size of the Washington Monument in her now sex-crazed brain to have her generous lover nab that particular Amazon too, when time allowed it. I'm going to come. I can feel it. I'm going to come, exclaimed Kara while feeling her orgasm. One of many so far hit, and she saw stars so clearly to the point where the woman thought she was actually in space. Fuck yeah, exclaimed Naruto while coming hard inside Supergirl and holding the woman close with Kara in turn, wrapping those sweat-coated legs around his waist. No more. I can't handle anymore, whispered Kara while wondering how this person could have so much stamina. What was he? Some kind of god. Shame. I was hoping for at least one more round, commented Naruto, while Kara's eyes widened since she had neither the strength nor the energy for another. In fact, she was barely conscious right now. How could he give her 8 orgasms and still be ready for more? Oh, me, exclaimed Harley quickly while jumping up and down and wanting another go at her manly lover. Oh, hush. You had plenty of time with him already, commented Tala while she saw Galatea lift a now unconscious Supergirl easily off of Naruto and saw the fluids from the two spill onto the floor. Well, so did you. Which means if I can't get another shot at his dick, neither can your magic-using butt, declared Harley while pointing at Tala and sticking her tongue out while missing Galatea taking Supergirl to another room. Oh yeah, challenged Tala while getting in Harley's face. Yeah, Harley shot back while getting in Tala's face. Both women growled with narrowed eyes, while the two were now butting heads and somehow shooting lightning from their eyes to clash against each other. And in the process, missing how Starfire walked into the room, naked before she mounted and amused Naruto, not caring about the audience turning their attention to them in the process. Perhaps you two ladies should have worked together instead of fighting each other, commented Naruto with amusement, while he grabbed Starfire's wonderful well-shaped butt with both hands and began one of his favorite sex games. Fuck the hot, sexy, red-haired, orange-skinned Tamaran silly game. Wonderful game in his mind. To the right of him, Harley along with Tala slumped their heads in defeat. I agree. Teamwork is important. Working as one, thinking as one, becoming one. moaned Starfire while she was riding Naruto in a sensual, yet very much erotic manner. "It is so good to be me," thought Naruto with a perverted grin on his face, while put his legendary stamina to good use one more time on a very horny Starfire. Captain Kirk from Star Trek had nothing on him when it came to seducing and banging hot alien chicks. Chapter 10. Growing Stronger. Alfred Pennyworth was a man of principle, a man of honor, integrity. Raised in England to be a stand-up English gentleman of the highest order. Served the British government during his time in the military in an almost pseudo-James Bond type manner, though he did nothing as scandalous as the movies portrayed the suave fiction character. During the days when spying on other countries for information about their plans were all the rage, he retired from that life and served the Wayne family loyally for years. Alfred was proud and honored to be in the service of Mr. and Mrs. Wayne, along with their only son, Bruce Wayne himself. He had lived a long and happy life with no regrets surrounding himself or his actions. So when the figure appeared from the shadows of an alley and managed to discreetly pull him into it, the dark corner, away from prying eyes with something sharp and pointy aimed at a key spot along his back, he remained calm for the most part. "Relax, Mr. Pennyworth. If I wanted you dead, there were other places along this street I could have done it," came the calm, almost emotionless tone of the mystery kidnapper, while moving his hand from the mouth of the butler to the throat. "If you are going to end me, sir, I would suggest you do it now and be done with it. I have nothing of value on me, nor will I tell you anything else you can use to gain such wealth," said Alfred calmly, despite everything. "I'm not here to end you, Mr. Pennyworth. I am here at the behest of another. Your master knows about him from recent events here in Gotham," replied the figure with Alfred's back stiffening slightly. "The ninja wearing the animal mask of a fox?" questioned Alfred while the figure just chuckled. "Correct. Which means you know that I know who your master really is when he puts on his mask at night. But that secret will remain as such out of respect for him. However, we are getting off track on why the two of us are here talking in this dark alley. I need you to deliver a message to your master," replied the ninja behind Alfred. "A non-violent message, I hope?" asked Alfred while getting another chuckle. But the message is not from my master. It is from another person from your master's past. One who he needs to talk to immediately about something considered to be of incredible importance to him," replied the ninja. "May I ask who this person in question is?" "Master Bruce has known many people over the years," said Alfred before he felt something enter his coat pocket. "A picture is worth 1,000 words, Mr. Pennyworth. What I just gave you should help answer most, if not all of them. Know this, though, the future of the Wayne family and its continued existence through blood rests on what decisions Bruce Wayne makes here on out after seeing this picture. We do not wish to end the Wayne bloodline, but given the nature of what I just gave you, it would be best if we were not pushed to reduce it further to a single drop over that of a trickle," said the ninja before he let go of the Wayne butler and walked deeper into the shadows. When Alfred felt he was no longer at risk of being killed or gravely injured, the man took the picture out of his pocket, and his eyes widened at the image. It was at this point the Wayne butler knew what the ninja was talking about at the end of the conversation, and felt worry rise in his heart. With a swift sense of urgency, the man put the picture away carefully and walked swiftly, yet with dignity, to the car to head for Wayne Manor immediately. The protection of the Wayne bloodline was at stake. Batcave a short time later. "It is real," commented Batman, as he scanned the image from the picture several times and had the computer check for every single way it could be altered or faked, and found nothing of the sort. "Begging your pardon, Master Bruce, but I am glad the picture is real," remarked Alfred with a sense of joy in his voice and in his eyes. "And why is that, Alfred?" asked Batman with Alfred not looking away from the picture. "Because it means there is another heir to the Wayne name. A name I have tried to help protect and see grow beyond being only just one member. Now there are two," replied Alfred while seeing the child's face, and knew without question the boy was the son of Bruce Wayne. "She's corrupted him, Alfred, or has done a good job of doing it so far. Given who her father is and the organizations they both belong to," commented Bruce with Alfred frowning. I don't believe that, sir. Those eyes on the child still hold innocence. Innocence you once had at that age, countered Alfred with Bruce frowning. Perhaps, but this picture is a few years old. Things change in a few years, Alfred, said Bruce, while Alfred nodding. Perhaps they do, sir. But until I see the change myself, I won't believe such innocence is dead in this boy as it is in you, said Alfred before walked away and left Bruce Wayne to his own thoughts. Gotham City Abandoned Factories District. Matt Hagen, Clayface scowled at the ninja currently standing in front of him, and without any sense of fear, horror, disgust, or any kind of emotion one would expect to seeing a monster like himself. The young man just stood there, not a care in the world at the idea of standing in front of a creature like Hagen. It was disturbing in a way, and that was saying something considering what Hagen had become thanks to Daggett Industries, and Ronald Daggett himself for making such an addictive face cream. How this ninja found him here was also disturbing, but given how ninjas were supposed to be experts in gathering information and using it to their advantage, perhaps there were truths to the stories behind them after all. If Sai was aware of how troubled Hagen was at the sight of him, the pale-faced ninja did not show it in the slightest. He just kept smiling his fake emotionless smile and showed a simple scroll outstretched in his hands. When Clayface extended his arm to take the scroll from Sai, the former actor turned criminal manipulated his large hand to become multiple smaller ones in his palm to unroll it and read its contents carefully. This is all legit. None of that corporate backstabbing, asked Clayface with Sai, nodding that it was indeed legitimate. That is correct. My master is in fact a big fan of your movies and knows how you came to be what you are now. His only true regret in this situation is not being able to help you out sooner. Do you accept his most generous offer to you? Said Sai while Clayface just looked down at the scroll again and thought. The terms were pretty straightforward. Surrender to the police, call Whirlpool Inc. to get in touch with Uzumaki Menma. In doing so, the man would immediately dispatch a whole army of high-priced lawyers he commanded to get Hagen out on some special probation he already gave Pamela Isley. While Clayface and Poison Ivy never truly interacted with one another, both of them had known of the other's past history easily enough through the news, and the second-hand accounts of their own past deeds. Still, this was a golden opportunity. One did not just say no to when approached in secret by agents of a wealthy businessman with a high-tech company capable of fixing what was done to him. No one had bothered up until now to give a damn about him to the extent he needed in terms of help. Sure, Batman claimed he wanted to help, but never said how he would help. Unless the masked vigilante had a massive fortunate and high-tech company to back up his own offer, he would take his chances with the man who currently did. Not to mention that there was a promise of getting Matt Hagen employment by working for Whirlpool Inc., in possibly being the corporate spokesman for the company, or maybe doing some commercials for them in the future once cured of his condition. A great way to get back in the acting game in Matt's mind, since he loved to act, and it ate at him daily, at not being able to do what he loved. I accept. I want to be normal again. I want to act again. I want my life back, exclaimed Clayface, while Sai nodded again. Do what is asked of you in the scroll, and you shall, Mr. Hagen. Also, if you would be so kind as to destroy that scroll, we don't want certain elements finding out about this. They tend to find ways to stir up unnecessary trouble at the most inconvenient of times, said Sai with Clayface nodding before he did what was asked of him. When do you want me to surrender to the police? Asked Clayface with Sai shrugging slightly, though his fake smile never left him. In a few days, 3 at most. My master will be expecting your call around that time, Mr. Hagen. Even if they deny you said phone call, my master will be having agents on standby to report such things, and will act accordingly to get you out, said Sai before disappearing into the shadows. Talk about Job's security, remarked Clayface before he decided to think things over in his head, and hoped this worked out. Washington, D.C., sometime later. Disgraceful. Look at this Waller. Whirlpool Inc. gets another criminal out of jail and has plans to cure, said criminal of his condition before hiring him of all things, said General Lane angrily, while looking at the paper in front of him, while Waller was across from him at the high-end restaurant. They met to eat and plan things. This place also knew how to be discreet with them when they met to discuss things. What did you expect, General? Whirlpool Inc. wishes to make a name for itself. Would you prefer they keep the Lex Corp name and have some Lex Luthor wannabe continue doing what Luthor was doing? Asked Waller while she ate her meal with a serious look on her face, and acting like the meal itself wasn't good at all. Which wasn't true since the meal was fantastic, but the mood Waller and General Lane had been in prior to the meal was horrible. With Cadmus in a state of life support financially, both Waller and Lane were in a state of limbo on what to do regarding their mission to combat the Justice League. They had both gone to the president to get the official funding for Cadmus since Luthor and his own funding to Cadmus was now non-existent. Sadly, the President of the United States did not believe the Justice League would become like the Justice Lords in the different dimension. The Justice League had been open with the President about the issue and had assured the man that they would not become their clearly polar opposites. And as such, any chance of getting government support was scraped in its entirety. I would prefer Lex still had Lex Corp, and we had funding from him to make the high-tech weapons needed to combat the Justice League, to crush Superman and all the other heroes running the world around without restraint or under our control. It was one of the main reasons we created Cadmus in the first place, Waller, to control and use such tools for the good of the country, said General Lane with Amanda Waller nodding. And now our own grasp on it is all but lost to us. All because of a single ninja of all things, commented Waller, while General Lane scoffed and took a sip of his drink. Ninja. Bah. That so-called ninja, a meta-human hiding behind such a thing to cover his own tracks. He knows if we found out his identity, it wouldn't be that hard to control him once a capture team was deployed, and getting the smug bastard to do what we want for a change, countered General Lane while looking at the newspaper again, and the title of it before slamming the paper on the table. Sadly, what resources we possess have been unable to find out the said identity of our mysterious masked ninja. We have reports of several other masked ninja running around Gotham, Jump City, and Metropolis at random intervals, remarked Waller while she kept on eating her meal. Meaning the ranks of our enemy are growing. Before we had one of them. Now there are what? 2, 3 of them total. How long before there are 5? 20? And if this isn't nipped in the bud soon, we will be overrun by an army of these masked fools, who only answer to someone not of this country, said General Lane, who was of a strange patriotic mindset where unless you were born and raised in the United States, you were a second-class citizen and possible enemy of the country. You were either everything American or nothing else in his mind. I'm open to suggestions, General. Who do you wish to recruit to our cause, and can we even afford it? Asked Amanda Waller with General Lane sighing. Hardly. In terms of candidates, no one who is trustworthy. Even if we did get some kind of suicide squad together, there is no one enemy who we can properly aim them at, and it would only put us on the Justice League's radar, no matter how hard we cover up our own involvement, remarked General Lane while he saw Waller narrow her eyes in thought. Are you still in contact with Deadshot and Deathstroke? Asked Amanda Waller with General sneering. You want to hire them, those mercenaries, to put out a contract hit on an enemy who no doubt gave us a false name? Asked General Lane, since he would rather shoot himself in the foot. There is no other alternative, General. They have access to additional resources even we do not have in our possession. Not to mention they will no doubt be steep in price to pay for their services, but what technology we do have can help give us a sizable discount, said Waller with General Lane letting out a growl. I would prefer that they be forced into submission and simply do their job like any good obedient soldiers should do, growled General Lane with Waller, sighing knowing the man was in his own little world about being loyal to the United States and never serving it for any other reason than you want or have to do it. Such views were going to get the man killed one day. Whirlpool Inc. at the moment.